How is everyone?
Yeah, not bad, thank you.
Love to hear it.
Not bad considering. Oh, we've had to. I haven't told Ben this. We're gonna have to cancel our next gig.
Oh no.
Yeah, Simon's got pinged by the track and trace app. Isolate for
Oh.
10 days.
Oh
And
no.
that makes that gig kaput. He's
Oh,
almost
dear.
certainly not got it, but that's not how the system works. Oof. Alas.
Sorry, am I hearing competent government?
No,
Tracking?
no, you're not. No, you're absolutely not.
You're not. This is a thing that they promised a good 10 months ago, and it's just about up and running now. So
And it costs like 3 billion.
yeah, around about that. So it's functioning, but hey, we're grading it on a curve. I think we're above the curve on that one, but we're certainly not at the top of the curve.
Our
It's
daily
not hard
cases
to
are
be
rising,
above the
but
curve
we're
if you're comparing to like us.
Yeah.
no, we are the worst in the world. Very much with excess deaths per million people. We are just extraordinarily bad. The UK has completely and utterly fucked it at every possible opportunity.
Not that we're cross.
Cute.
Oh no. and we're going back because our daily cases are rising, and
Yeah.
we're removing all restrictions on the 19th.
Yay!
Yay! Ours are gone, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everything is gone.
And it's all like,
Yeah.
oh, if you're vaccinated, but it's an honor system.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which means that no one does anything.
Got another
Yeah.
federal government.
Yeah.
So
Whatever
it's
the
great.
fuck.
We're doing great.
On a complete left hand, totally. That is an excellent beehive mug.
Thank you. I counted today. I have 7 bee-themed mugs.
Do you think you have an issue or a problem?
I think that it's the opposite of a problem, and now I'm looking to
feature.
buy more. So
I see. You see, this is a feature you need to expand upon.
Frankly, as you should be. My mom always yells at me for having too
Oh,
many
yeah.
mugs, but one can never have too many.
No, I live in a 2-person household, and our mug cupboard occasionally can't shut. Like, there's 2 of us. There's a maximum of 2 mugs needed. There are about 15 to 20 mugs.
As it
that's
should
what you
be.
gotta do.
Yeah.
As it should be.
And then
frankly.
sometimes we run out because I just get a new mug every time, like a fucking monster.
Every time I go to like, there's a theater near our town where a lot of the like Broadway like tours will stop. So every time my family goes to one of those, or I go to like a concert or something, the first thing I do, get a mug.
Get a mug.
Get a fucking mug.
Look.
Because I'm such a sucker for overpriced like event merchandise because it proves that I was there.
Yeah. Otherwise, who would believe you? They'd yell fake at you and jab you in the eyes, and you'd be like, "Aha! Here is my Book of Mormon mug. So fuck you."
I wasn't allowed to get one at the Book of Mormon. My mom said no because I was like 14.
We can't
So
let
sad.
anybody know I brought you to this.
Yeah, pretty much.
What will the
Um,
Mormons think?
Ben, have you been given any kind of like description of how this all works?
As a British versus American quiz.
Yeah, not
Is-
quite
is it-
quiz.
Okay.
Sort of. Just trying to get heated. That's the whole
Sure.
the whole premise of the podcast.
Yeah,
we
nice
get
to meet
heated
you. Now I'm
over
gonna
things
yell
that
at you.
don't matter.
Well, I did just get quite cross about that we mishandled the pandemic worse than the Americans. So I think
Yeah.
I've already got into the spirit of this thing by being a little quite tired.
Yeah. Ben's gonna be real contentious as the podcast wears on.
Well, that's good because I am over caffeinated and drinking more caffeine currently.
Yeah, I was cracking up.
Oh my god.
We were getting ready.
We sent this to Tim.
I am getting over spring allergies, and so I've been like taking medicine. I made tea, and I sent Bridget a picture, and I said, "It's tea time with the Brits, isn't it?" And then she replied and said, "Stop drinking tea." Like we both had the same idea.
Did
of,
not plan
Oh,
it.
we're with British people. We need tea.
And yet,
Um,
ironically, I'm drinking decaf coffee out of a flask.
And I'm
See, my
drinking
thing though,
water.
I like any self-respecting 20-something, I do have a caffeine addiction that I need to be feeding, but I think coffee is fucking disgusting.
Oh, it's great.
Like
And
I have not like all through high school, all through college was always tea in the morning, not coffee.
And actually, just the trivia, down in Sussex, we call water river tea.
We do.
I think I'm being BS'd right now, but okay.
No, it's river tea.
Okay.
We'll be like, oh, what's up? Would you like
Here.
any river tea? And I'll be like,
Here,
well, thank you
governor.
very much, you old mucker. I'll
Here,
have a bit
governor.
of river tea. I'll have
Oh.
a lovely pint of river tea, straight out
Cool.
of the puddle.
Cool, blimey! I've been on a lovely little run, or as we call them, Jimmy Jags. So I'd love a little cup of tea, if
I've
you
been doing a
please, good sir.
I've been doing an old shift on the coal boat, shoveling coal hither and thither. And I need a
Hither and
lovely
yon
mug
it
of
was.
river tea, yeah.
Oh, lovely
You can
mug of river
tell
tea.
who here does improv. These
No,
two
we
are
just
the
can't
ones
be
doing
stopped.
Hang on.
improv.
Can you spot the insufferable bastards?
Yeah.
They're the ones who have done improv.
Oh, the ones who can't shut up. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that-
Oh,
yeah.
I'm very good at that. Don't you worry.
That is-
That's why I started this thing.
fair enough.
But yeah, actual beginning of the podcast, we are here today with, holy shit, both of the Merediths. Ben Meredith,
Both.
who you may know from the spooky Magnus archives, and Tim, who you will know from Stellar Firma.
Yes.
Cannot believe I
Award-
managed to pull this off.
Yeah, award adjacent and award
Yes.
winning, and it's not important to establish which one's which.
Multi-award winning.
Multi-award adjacent and multi-award winning.
All good things. Again, don't know how I wound up in here, but here we are.
Bullying over Twitter, you said do the podcast or I'll get your kids, and I don't have kids, but I had to agree.
But you were like, oh no.
What if
the
I have
funny-
some kids?
The funny story behind that is that, like, I agonized over whether or not to, like, even, like, publicly say anything for, like, literal weeks before I actually did, because I was like, what if someone scrolls back through my Twitter and sees this thing that I sent to somebody, like, who has, like, an actual, like, real podcast that people listen to, and they see that he didn't respond, and they just think I'm such a loser.
I mean, if somebody carefully scrolled back through your timeline to pick out an example of when you gave something a go and it didn't work and then called you a loser, I think you could quite confidently turn around to them and say, you spent your time doing what? I rest my case, Your Honour.
You're right, but...
I also
Bridget,
totally
I've
appreciate
seen
I'd
your
have had the
Twitter.
exact...
You have many more embarrassing things on there.
Okay, first of all, shut up. Second of all, and what about it?
If I'm picking something where I'm gonna point to it, be like, look at this. What
I
did
did
you do?
tweet last night that I started crying
won't be
because
it.
I remembered Laika the space dog.
It is sad, to be
yeah,
fair.
I mean, that dog did not survive.
No,
Very sad.
I went to the Cosmonaut Museum. You know what? I might have seen it on tour at the British Museum
Ooh.
rather than I have Petersburg once, but I don't think I saw it there. But I remember they had the capsules that they're in, and they had the capsule sort of like the non-sent up version of the one with the dog, and it was very sad. It was.
Yeah,
very
she
sad.
received a
little dog
Snapchat of me
seat.
last night where I'm like,
Oh,
literally,
Laika?
tears running down my
Oh.
face, and I just go, I'm crying because I remembered Laika the space
I
dog.
remembered there was a dog in space.
And she didn't make it back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they didn't even try to get it back.
I
I
know.
can't imagine the point at which you're like, so we're just shutting the door on the dog, are we? And we're just
That's just it.
okay.
All right.
Still enjoy that they had a control dog, because they were taking readings from Leica and they
Yeah.
just needed the dog to be a dog. On
Yeah.
Earth, they're just literally just a control dog
It's
whose
a dog.
job was to just be a dog and be like,
Oh,
oh, so
you
that's
know
what a
what?
normal dog is doing, and then this is what Leica's up to.
And then I
There
had to
must
go
have been a
down.
real
And then I had to go downstairs and lay on the floor with my dog.
and you into space. At
And
least
if I
not
do
without a firm re-entry plan.
Yeah, so I guess now that we've established like how embarrassing just of a human being I am,
Yeah.
would we like to get into it?
Let's crack on. And I don't know about Ben, but this is because of my business calls in business town. I'm still pre-dinner, so I'll become more aggressive as the podcast wears on. At the point at which I really need food, that's when I'll start pointing and exclaiming, so you can tell my progress.
We've already
throughout
started
the podcast.
pointing, unfortunately.
Okay, so
This
we've got
is
a
a
bunch of
demonstrative
different
point.
energies going on, which I really like.
Real mix. We've got the two tea swillers, Angry Water Boy, and Captain Piss and Vinegar, as I shall name myself.
All right.
Starting on the English slang, piss and vinegar. Have you got that one?
I gotta
don't know
say,
the
your
format
guys'
of this.
slang is so much more fun than ours.
Yes.
Like, I've picked up so many words and, like, fun little phrases just from like watching like movies and stuff and like incorporated them into my own vocabulary. My sister makes fun of me because I say fucking hell sometimes, and she's like, "Oh, you're just saying that because it was like in like British shows." I'm like, "No, it's just a great expression, whether or not I picked it up from a British movie."
Fucking hell.
Like I say it all the time.
I didn't even think that of slang. That's just
fucking hell. It's just like it's just a thing there.
good words next to each other during their jobs.
She's like, "Oh, you're just saying that because you saw it in the movie." I'm like, "No, it's just fantastic is what it is."
I suppose the American version is like freaking heck.
Nah, I mean, we're a pretty sweary bunch.
Frickin'. Yeah.
Just like different word orders.
Son of a bitch.
That's pretty American.
That's pretty American.
Yeah.
You're a goddamn son of a bitch.
I can't call anybody a jabroni, and
it would sound weird.
Sensible, yeah.
Excuse, I think
Have
you're
you
being a
considered?
jabroni, and I think we both know it.
Is that like old? Is that old American pop culture slang? Because I don't know what that is.
Jabroni, that's
it's
like
it's
Italian American. Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I am
Goodfellas.
Yeah, you say it with like
based
a
on
New
the
Jersey
pastiness.
accent.
Very much not like no Italian ancestry whatsoever.
Nope.
Just a
But
large.
you could be sort of like New York Bowery Irish, and then you'd be in the same sort of zone.
This is true. It's just a long history of like different pasty Europeans.
Yeah. Well, we believe Welsh or Welsh adjacent, so.
Good to know.
I am English and Welsh, and I was talking to my mom this morning, trying to like find a way to connect. And I was like, "Oh, like where, like from England, did we like come from?" She goes, "I don't know, England." And I was like, "Helpful, thank you, got it."
Somewhere in
correct.
there.
Yeah.
To be fair, on the American scale, it's like one small district. I don't know, England.
Yeah.
That'd be like saying I'm from Rochester, which is like fine. Yeah, that's pretty specific. It's about the same size.
I mean, Rochester is a small town in England, so that would be quite specific.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about, you nasty little cube.
It's funny because the Pilgrims turned up and just went, "Oh, I'm gonna call it where I'm from."
Yeah, pretty much.
I was talking to an American guy today, and he was literally like, "I grew up in Weymouth," and then I saw a map of England, and I was like, "Hey guys, look, Weymouth!"
Look at that!
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
and then
no,
he now lives in Boston.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Pretty much entirely Irish from my dad's side, and then some form of German and Slavic on my mom's side, Czechoslovakian, Polish. We really have no idea. So fun.
But-
Again, just
but
pasty
definitely
white people.
The pastiest side of Europe.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like you can draw a line between like potato and tomato Europe. It's all potato Europe.
It's all up there.
All up
The
there.
how big are the Nordics on potatoes? They do potato alcohol, don't they?
Probably.
Well, I mean,
The
Do
Russians
people
certainly
not
do.
do
and
potato alcohol?
The Finns do. I suppose it's where potatoes got back from America and then propagated at that time, because potato is an American thing.
I mean, I also learned about seagull wine.
Seagull
You learned
wine.
about fucking what?
You basically put a seagull in a bin bag and leave it for 6 months, and then drink what comes out.
That's disgusting.
That's not a drink, and that's not wine. You've pressed no fruit. You've just
Yeah.
let a seagull take its course.
I don't think that's exactly it. I'm going to look it up now. Because the
Yeah.
recipe is going to be more complicated and probably more disgusting.
It's going to be like, vinegar and preserve. Because the thing is, if you just let a seagull putrefy, you can drink it, but you will get diseases.
If I can drink it once.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
exactly.
can technically drink anything once.
Yeah, kerosene, nails. You can drink them
Yeah.
once.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, now I just I've found the one sentence recipe on a blog.
Okay.
Chuck a dead seagull in a bottle and leave it in the sun until fermented.
I
Right.
hate everything about this.
Because
Yeah.
the feathers are still there. Maybe they break down into some
no,
sort
I
of
think
horrifying
you
stew.
strain it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
strain the
Yeah, you
seagull.
don't just shotgun the seagull. They're quite big birds.
I mean, sure,
That
but
makes sense.
I got a sandwich
Yeah.
stolen by a seagull on a beach in Cape Cod once.
that's a
It
bright
literally
daily
landed
occurrence.
on my shoulder, plucked my sandwich out of my hands, and was
Yep.
off into the
We-
sunset.
I got seagulled a couple of months ago, and after living in Brighton for 12 years, I was very angry at myself.
Yeah, you
because I
feel like
should
you
know
get a
better.
sense.
It
No.
didn't get it though. It
But
just
it
had a
did
good go.
touch it.
So I had to throw the whole bag out away because I'm
You
not
do
having
hate
any
to see it.
whatever that seagull had.
Yeah,
I had to see it. It was a nice cheese ploughman's as well.
Aw, and that
From
is
Greggs.
British slang. Would you like a cheese plowman, sir? It's not a sandwich. It's a
don't know if
sexual
it's-
act.
I don't know if it's I don't know if that is slang more than just a name of a thing.
No, but it sounds like slang, doesn't
That's
it?
like calling an Eccles cake. Oh, that's slang. No, it's
Did
just
you
a cake
hear?
from Eccles.
He had a cheese plowman's.
Well,
It
yeah.
just
I'm
sounds.
said in
I'm
that voice,
scared.
definitely.
We should have gotten somebody who knows both
Well,
slangs
that's
so we know when
innuendo.
we're being BS'd.
Yeah, well, no.
a cheese plowman is
It's just a
genuinely
sandwich.
a thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
The reason it's called that is because I think it was traditionally prepared by farmers' wives for ploughmen, so they could have it for lunch.
Men of the plough.
Yes.
Good to
Although
know.
a ploughman's lunch, I think, is something different, and then it's.
Well, I
become-
think the ploughman's lunch is like the stuff, and then the cheese ploughman is like they just banged it all into a sandwich.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
apple, cheese, pickles. Some,
You
probably
know
not
what? The
tomatoes,
ploughman's
but
lunch is
yeah.
going to be that platter because my extended family from Lincolnshire. I call them extended family. We're not related by blood or law, but sort of habit from other half. Their lunches are very much like grapes, apples, cheese, crackers, breads, and just bits. Like it's just bit stuff.
All
They don't
good
do
things.
a hot lunch because
Oh,
they
I-
are farming.
I have a question.
Please,
Beans on toast? Question
Yeah,
mark?
okay, what the fuck?
king of
Foods.
foods.
Beans.
Disgusting.
You
on
just
toast.
eat it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you get. Well,
beans.
we
What
don't.
kind of
We don't
beans?
frame it and hang it on the wall.
Behold
Fair,
the
I
beans.
guess. But, like,
I
what
just
kind of
prepare
beans
some
do
and
you
go.
use?
Oh, there you go.
What,
Have you ever had?
Um,
You've
I
had
think
cheese
that-
what
on
meal
toast?
is this for?
I think
Lunch.
lunch, dinner. It depends how lazy you're feeling. I
It
think they're
wouldn't be-
haricot beans. Are they haricot beans?
It's a haricot bean. A baked bean is a
Yeah.
haricot bean.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
a haricot bean which is put in a. I say tomato sauce. It's not like ketchup or tomato soup or anything. It's like a quite sugary, quite mild tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And they're just canned in that and steeped in it, and then you know, whack it out, microwave it, stick it on some toast. Bob's your uncle.
There is a
Bad.
much more.
He's not my uncle. That is another piece of slang. Robert is not my uncle.
No, but Bob's your uncle is to do with I think it was Sir
Actually,
Robert Peel.
I tell a lie because Robert literally is our uncle.
Oh yeah, we have an Uncle Robert.
Bob is
Oh, yeah,
our
so do I.
uncle. Yeah.
Bob is a yeah.
Several,
All
actually.
of our uncle. But there is a much fancier version of beans on toast, which don't necessarily be on toast. But the Italians do like a much nicer, like sun-dried tomato bean mix thing. So you sort of like take all of the romance out of it,
Mm-hmm.
put it in a can, and that's your UK baked bean. But it's a great meal. It's like it's like cheese on toast. It's
2
just
seconds. One of
bread
my asshole
with a
neighbors
thing.
is mowing their lawn.
fucking. How dare they? Don't they?
Actually, no, they're
What's
nice.
happening?
I'm being mean for a comedic
It's
effect.
2:30 in
They're
the
nice
afternoon.
people.
People are trying to do things.
Yeah,
You just-
people are
just
trying
open up the
to
window.
record a podcast.
Yeah, beans on toast is great. I
Yeah,
wanted to
good
make
stuff.
beans on toast the other day, but I was out of beans. Beans
Also-
and cheese on a jacket potato as well.
Primary or bit of tuna mayonnaise as well. Tuna mayonnaise and baked beans. That's what I had for dinner today. It was good.
Now, Ben.
But like the main purveyors of baked beans are an American company.
German.
No, Heinz is American.
I mean, are they? I thought they're owned. Maybe they're owned by Kraft
No,
now, but
no,
Heinz
yeah,
is a German
probably.
company.
People can come from other places
No, I
and
don't
live
accept
in
this.
places. Heinz is a
Heinz.
very American company.
Oh, they're so American.
They are like
Henry
they're gonna
J.
be-
Heinz in
Yeah, they're going to be
1869.
immigrants because
Yeah, sharp
Ameri-
skirt,
white
Mug,
people in America.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. Well, who's a fucking smart ass, Ben?
I'm not being a smart ass. So I did a thing and you were like, no, it's not, and I was like, I think it is.
No,
That's-
you should have
you
just
know,
accepted my clear falsehood.
You were a failed smart ass. That was
I'm
an
a fail-
attempt at smart arsery.
I'm a fool bum, a foolish posterior.
Also, I
Sorry,
apologise.
we
Smart
have-
assery for our American friends.
or jackassery if you'd prefer.
How big is the age gap here?
Between
2.5
us,
years?
no,
Yeah.
1 and 3/4.
No, I think it's 2.5.
My
I'm
sister and I are
92.
2.5 years apart.
And I'm 90.
Yeah, but we're not up to end of the years. If I'm August 92 and you're
So you're late 92 and I'm early 90.
yeah,
Because if I was August 90, we'd be 2 years. But I was born in March, which means you know, I mean, I guess 2 years, 5 months.
Need for it to be a hard math question. I'm sorry.
It's not
How
a
dare you.
hard maths question.
Ben,
No,
my
but it's a
sister's
maths
2.5
question.
years younger. I get it.
What do you mean you get it? What? That it's a
I know,
joy.
right. Yeah, I
That it's
get
a
it.
great joy that brings light to your life.
No, I understand.
Us older
many-
siblings really do need to unionize.
Yeah. Well, we'll unionize as well, except we'll unionize second, so our parents have calmed the fuck down about parenting and probably end up.
Well,
a bit
no,
more
we don't even
well-rounded.
have to unionize as youngest siblings because mom and dad just do everything, so
We're the
they've got us
favourites.
handled.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. You have your union. We'll have the more unconditional love.
Don't remind me.
I've earned it, damn it,
You
with
earned
these
it, damn it.
conditions.
In the children's minds, but not as bad as it sounds. It's not a children's mind. It's a mind you're in when you're it's a metaphor. It's slang. It's just
Yeah,
some
it is
slang.
slang.
It's just some British slang. When you're a child, are you in the children's mind? Yeah, I'm
Oh,
6.
blimey, I'm down the children's mind.
Oh, blimey, Governor, I'm in the children's mind. Mining away my GCSEs.
We don't even need to be here.
Sorry.
We can just let these
Oh,
two
we
go.
have-
Free content.
Perfect jumping point.
So, right,
And boy,
yeah,
will we jump.
we will jump.
We will leap Thelma and Louise like into the
Were they-
Grand Canyon of an anecdote.
Sorry,
And we'll
you had
explode.
you had a format. Would you
Oh,
like
yes,
to do
sorry.
it?
Yes. So I kind of have I have things written down on my computer. I have it broken up into like things we pronounce different, and then things that where it's like a different word for the same object, idea, whatever. So for the pronunciation ones, because I don't want to be like, I'll say it right, or like you say it right, and then I'll hear the other person say it wrong, or fucking whatever. I have some visual aids.
Excellent stuff. For the people
So-
on the audio version only, buck your ideas
Yeah.
up and get onto YouTube.
Well, I mean, we will be saying the word once. So, you know.
If you're only listening, practice your psychic powers and guess what the word is going to be
Before
before
we
Bridget
say
holds
it.
it up and we say it.
Okay,
You'll be able
so,
to pick it up from the feeling on the call.
Number 1. And I just realized that my camera is mirrored. I'm hoping this isn't
No,
a
that's
problem.
fine. It's fine for us.
Nope, we're good.
How do we say that, friends?
See, I would say either way, depending on how I feel.
Really?
What does either way mean, though?
I mean, so
It's
I
the
think
two
I agree
ways
with,
which are going to be said.
I think I agree because I would say like it's the patent office,
Okay, I would say patent office.
but it's patent pending.
I'd say patent pending in the
Oh.
patent office.
Interesting.
Yeah, I always think of it.
I just assume one of them is British English and one of them is American English, but I
Must be.
cannot tell you which way around it is.
I think
mean,
I
Patent
think-
sounds more British.
I have
Yeah, it's,
only ever
it's
heard
patently obvious.
like patent and patent pending.
Yeah, we've
In
only
the
done
United States.
patent.
Yeah, and you know what? I think patent pending is not a thing in the UK. I don't know for certain, but I think like pat pending, is it shortened to? I think is an American thing.
Interesting.
I've never
we don't-
seen it here.
We
in the
don't have a.
wild.
Do we have a patent office or do we have
Well,
like
you-
a
well, I mean-
trademark or I don't know what do we do?
Surely. I
we
mean,
must
we,
do, but like
we protect our intellectual property somehow.
yeah, I think it might be more implicit. We have the intellectual property office or the
right.
IPO.
Interesting.
But it does patents, designs, trademarks, and copyright.
I'm out here
So,
learning.
So we yeah, there you go. We've all
But
got
I
Google.
actually pronounce it patent, so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Love it. Moving right along. Oh, geez, what did I do? There
If
we
you
go.
killed again.
Moving right along. Boom.
Oh, well, that's an easy one. We'd
it's
also spell it with an H, but
Yeah.
because then you've got British English and American English written. You hate H's, you hate U's.
Used some
I'm
G's
just
you don't get
saying-
on with.
If you're going to pick a favorite letter of the alphabet, pick a better one than U or H.
I said
Oh,
it was
but
my favourite. I just said I
Points.
used
Well,
it.
if
any
you're
day
going to
today.
pick a random letter to throw in there,
uh,
pick something fun.
I think you took them away because
Yeah,
I think
streamlining.
this is
And that was-
streamlining.
I think it was the puritanical streak. They were like,
Yeah.
use.
If
How
you put two
dare
together,
you.
it looks like breasts or a bottom. Strike them out.
Think of the young
Um,
women.
So for the people at home or listening who are now
Oh yes.
screaming yogurt,
Yeah, yogurt.
yogurt,
No.
Yogurt.
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 Yeah, and it
Yogurt.
does make gogurt not work because we're like
It's
gogurt.
gogurt.
I don't know what-
Yeah, that's bad.
Yogurt?
That's why we call
Well, no,
them
we
fruit.
don't gogurt. We don't have gogurt.
No, it got rebranded as a froob, which is a fruit tube, a fruit yogurt tube, a froob.
Well, I thought fruit because it was from a tray.
Oh, is it petit filou?
Yeah, because it's
Oh.
from a trace. Because I think it's French. So
I'm looking it up. I'm looking
I
up the
think that's
origin
what
of
Froob is.
Froobs. On the origin of Froobs, the Darwin book that never quite got there. Hang on. You know what? I'm gonna do Froobs versus Go-Gurt.
But basically, Froobs are the same thing. They are, yogurt in a little squeezy tube that you as a kid, you squeeze into your face.
Yep.
You could
Go-Gurt.
take on the go.
Oh yeah,
Go-Gurt.
it's Yoplait. And it's the same company. Go-Gurt in America, Yoplait tubes in Canada, which is a bit like you wouldn't want to include the word tube just on its own in the title, I'd have thought. But hey,
I don't know.
you
I
do
get
you, Canada.
Kinder eggs, they're just
Yeah, but like, oh
company
look,
and
an
thing.
egg. Oh, a lovely egg. Would I interest you in a tube, sir? It's not.
I mean, to be fair, you've elected to eat food out of a tube, so you kind of know what you're in for.
Yeah, but
Like,
you don't
can't
want
be
to think
offended at the
about it. You don't want to think about how your life's gone wrong in this way.
Oh, right, we'll call it a dairy hose.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
that's
about
even
what
worse.
That one bit.
What about what about a yogurt length? How's that, sir? Would you like a yogurt length with your lunch? How lengthy is this yogurt? A quarter foot, sir.
I've
Thank
read
you, I
too
will
much
have a
fan
quarter foot yogurt
fiction
length.
to ever hear like the word length and
Yep.
like not
Nope.
cringe.
Oh, I see. Have people presented their lengths in this fiction?
In so many.
Yeah, they have
so
very-
many ways.
Very
So
long
many
legs.
words.
And you know what? You won't believe the lengths they'll go to.
Hey.
Kabam. That's just good comedy.
But backing up a couple steps, red hot take here.
Oh yes, what was that?
Yogurt is disgusting.
Oh, yogurt is delicious.
Bad.
Yeah. It's
Now I
it's-
will say the idea of yogurt is.
Don't think
disgusting.
about it. It's
Like
like
yogurt
eggs.
itself.
Yeah.
I mean, but the idea of dairy, honestly, is just grim.
It's
But
not for us.
Points
but
taken.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
And have you had like Greek yogurt, like that sort of sharp Greek yogurt with honey? Man,
I haven't had it with honey, but Greek yogurt is my favorite.
have it with honey. I went to Athens. I've only been to Athens once, and it was lovely. And they just put honey on everything. It's just like, hey, would this be good? Honey, please. And they do. The yogurt and honey there is, it's pretty great.
When I was
I know,
in
that sounds
St.
awesome.
Petersburg, I learned that apparently Russia is one of the largest honey-producing countries in the world.
Really?
Had no
I
idea.
suppose there's a lot of
Not a
it.
bean.
A lot of bees.
Yeah, I mean,
Where
a lot of space.
I suppose if it's like the eastern, western, southern bit of it, that is quite hot around there.
Yeah.
Like the Azerbaijan way.
Yeah.
Down Azerbaijan way. It doesn't scan as well. Down Belarus way. I mean, it's the wrong side. It's colder there, but you get the point. Either way, there's Europe's last dictator holding out. Just in some cases, it's a bee. In other cases, it's Alexander Lukashenko. I'm so happy I remembered his name because I looked him up today.
You were,
Good
yeah,
for
that
you.
was.
Good for you.
I'm gonna run at that one.
Yeah, I wasn't going to let that pass. If I've looked up a dictator, I'll mention the name in full.
You gotta name drop.
Yeah, I was the other day at Augusto Pinochet. Woo!
$5
Ooh,
to whoever can
monster.
name the dictator of Turkmenistan.
Oh, Turkmenbashi at one point.
Correct.
I don't know who it is now.
It's
I think he's
hell of a
dead.
name.
Hell of a name.
Hell of
it
a
means
name.
friend. It means friend of the Turkman. I watched a documentary when I was about 12, and it really stuck.
Yeah, apparently. Good lord.
No, the
Yeah,
current
but-
guy's name is Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov.
Excellent name.
So much not happening. So much.
I'm gonna guess. Probably not a cool guy, but excellent
Very much
name.
not a cool guy, but like much to unpack with that name.
Much to
He
unpack.
lacks in personality. He makes up for in name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like fun. He's no fun.
Yeah, pretty much. The only reason I know that is because John Oliver did a segment on him, so.
Is that what I watched? No, he wouldn't have been. He would have still been in the UK at that time. No, that would have been pre-Daily Show Oliver.
I mean, you could have listened to Bugle Oliver.
Could have
in,
been
in
a
an
no.
irony. Could have been an Oliver, but a different
It was
phase of Oliver.
definitely a video, because I remember seeing lots of very large statues of horses.
Oh, yeah.
They love a statue of a horse over
They
there.
really, really do.
Like, hey, guess what we did in history? Fucking horses, mate. Look at this one. It's made of bronze. It's 30 foot high.
Well, I
We've
hope
had
there
it
weren't
into the
fucking
schools.
horses in history.
Well, sorry, yeah. that again is.
I mean, with the amount of history that there is in the world, I feel like
it's gone on.
Yeah.
Oh, no, so, yeah, plenty of people have definitely fucked up a horse.
Yeah,
all of the people who've ever lived.
It's lonely on the steppe. There's a lovely horse. Let nature take its terrible course.
One of the most vivid memories I have from 9th grade global history.
This is very much ending.
Where
in
is
two
this
ways.
going? Yeah.
We watched. So I don't know. It's like a thing that they do in other countries, but in America.
Okay, none of this has disabused the end of. I'm imagining. This is
songs and rewrite the lyrics to be about whatever they're teaching about, so that the kids know the tune and they can sing along to it and they remember it more often. And this one was about Catherine the Great.
That is a myth. That is a myth.
Loved horses, but not in that way.
Oh,
okay. The Catherine the Great fucked a horse thing is a myth.
Now I know.
Yeah. No, definitely. But good that you were learning. It is good as it wasn't in school. You were like, Catherine the Great loved horses. She fucked them real good. Because then the teacher would be fired.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
But the next week they just sung Ra Ra Rasputin. So.
Yeah. Russia's Greatest Love Machine. Do you have Boney M over there? I don't know if that made it.
Oh yeah. I have a wonderful video of 2 of my friends singing, like karaokeing that song in a St. Petersburg nightclub at 5 in the morning.
Oh my god, I love that.
Gosh, how did they react to that?
Oh my god, like losing their minds. I thought it was so funny.
I mean, they had the option there for karaoke, so like they must have known it was coming eventually.
Oh yeah,
that's true. They loaded it on the system. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. Anyway.
I'm enjoying the tangents. It's another high tangent contingent. High tangent contingent. The Meredith story.
Yeah. Will we manage more? Will we manage more tangents than first time you were here, Tim? Because that was a lot.
I got Ben to help.
We love to see it. What do y'all call this thing?
I double up.
Well, that is, I mean, I think that in and of itself is contentious in this very
England.
country and the neighbouring countries.
Yeah, I gotta say, the whole scones versus scone thing is a bit of a thing here. Like, especially if someone's like trying to be like if someone's a pretentious asshole.
Yeah, you say scone if you're pretentious, basically, is how it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
I think it's opposite here.
Yeah, you're like, I have a scone.
A scone. Whereas I'll have a scone. Because in like a slightly more London or not posh English accent, like scone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scone, like it's a bomb.
And that's what like people over here, if they're gonna like act like they know so much, they'll be like, oh, I have a scone. That's what they call it in like Britain.
You can turn around and go, well, that's disputed, actually.
Yeah. Oi, you fucking think we all call it one thing? We're a fucking nation of diversity in that we pronounce scone and scone differently. In other ways, we're very monocultural.
I'm sorry, Reggie Cray, if you'd just like to sit back down and finish your cream tea.
Oh, I done a big job and I'm a bit fucking tired. So I'm gone with some fucking jam. Which way the jam and the cream gonna go? That's another debate, mate. That's another one.
It certainly is.
So I've heard.
There's a thing between I can't remember. It's Devon and Cornwall, and they both have cream teas, which is a scone or a scone, and then jam and clotted cream, and then tea, and they have a big county rivalry about whether or not you put the cream on.
Yeah,
first
which goes
or
first.
The jam on first.
But you put the cream on first because it's a more stable foundation on which to spread the jam.
Exactly.
Okay,
and also,
I buy that.
And if you put the jam down and then put like cold cream on, you can end up just pushing all the jam away.
Yeah, exactly. You end up with like just rubbing the jam around.
There's a good structural reason for this. However, I can't remember which round it is, but one of them says about the other, they do it that way because they don't want people to see how bad their cream is because I eat it with the jam. And that's basically the main joke they have in that particular community. So
fun. But as an outsider to the rivalry, I gotta say the logic of just like the structural integrity.
It just makes sense.
It does make sense.
Well, I mean, we're both outsiders. We're closer outsiders, but neither of us from Devon or Cornwall. So, fuck it. It's fine.
Cornwall.
Eat it.
I mean, I do appreciate the only argument being talking shit, though, to the other ones. Like,
yeah, you don't do anything.
Good argument.
There's no war.
Just talk some smack.
Neither of them have got. I mean, maybe somebody will drive a tractor into a tree, but beyond that, they've not really got much of a standing military. I'm sure there's some RAF bases down there, but I don't think they get involved.
Fun.
Although
yeah, I
I
feel
did
like they
find
might
out,
have better things to do.
I did in Cornwall. Don't know. Boom! Take that, Cornwall. You loveliest, the quite one of the nicest bits
What
of the
else are you
country.
going to do? Have your local economy completely ravaged by the tourism industry?
Yay! Wagga.
Have your local language dying out? Whey,
Well,
what a twat.
that's why I was saying I didn't realise that the sort of like Celtic language thing, like a very specific, like Scotland, Wales, Ireland, Cornwall, and very specifically like Cornwall was one of the last places that Celtic languages died out in mainland Britain, other than.
Huh.
Well, you know what? Welsh, I suppose, because there were more speakers, but there's literally like a countdown of like, there's 1,000 speakers left in 1910, there's 500 left in 1920. Yeah, and I just didn't I knew they had their own, they had a Cornish language, but I didn't realise that it was like the last place it pressed into, because previously it was much wider spread, sort of when the Kingdom of Wessex was the border, and as that expanded and England became a thing. I've just gone into sort of vague history now.
That is actually super interesting, though.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't realise
love
how
a cool
related
fact.
it was to Welsh and things like that.
Last week we ended up getting into a long discussion about the Cold War, so like
Yeah.
this is now a history podcast apparently.
Love a chat about the Cold War. Love a chat
Same.
about the Cold War. Or
Very-
Vietnam, which I suppose is part of the Cold War.
Oh, my sister is a history major. She can go forever.
Good stuff.
And like that whole like the 1900s and like specifically like 50s 60s era, her favorite era of history. She could go forever.
A lot goes on,
Yeah,
to be fair.
a lot in like 20 30 years. Pretty impressive, frankly.
Right, next silly word in different languages.
Yes. Or the same language, really.
I think this might be a mix. The problem is we consume so much American culture.
Yeah,
you sometimes
American
forget.
cultural hegemony has really done a number on.
I don't even want to think which one because it's advertisement or advertisement. I suppose advertisement is the English one.
No.
Yeah, I'd probably just say it.
No,
Advertisement is the English one. Advertisement's how I say it.
Oh, fair enough.
I
I
say
would say
advertisement.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
advertisement because it feels more natural to say, which
Yeah,
then makes
advertisement.
sense of it being like.
Yeah, advertisement seems a bit overblown, which is why I assumed it was the English one, because normally the rule is, are you pronouncing more letters than you really need to? It's probably the English pronunciation.
That's pretty much definitely not the case if you take town names.
Oh, that's true.
Actually,
that is true.
I've got one which I'm going to write down.
Ben's got one. Is it the one I got as well? Is it in the county that we no longer name, Neerflock?
Yes. It
Yes.
is the one where my wife is from.
Oh, I see.
Oh my.
We're turning the tables.
Good. Keep
It's
us on
gonna
our
be
toes.
bad.
Is that going to come through? Oh, hang on. I'm going to... Wait, oh, that's a good point. This is the right way around for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've also got with my terrible handwriting, but...
Okay, I know how I would say that.
I too know how I would say that.
Give it a go.
Wymondham?
That's exactly what I would say.
Oh,
I'm gonna guess there's so many.
sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna guess I'm gonna have to drop
How
a lot of letters.
How embarrassing for you both. Oh,
Would you
dear.
care to put them out of their misery, Tim?
Why, of course. That's Wyndham.
It is
Because
Wyndham.
none
It's
of the letters
fucking
in the
what?
in the middle matter.
Yeah. Actually, I've got
Wyndham.
another one for you. Another classic.
You just ignore the M. The M does not come into it.
But why?
Exactly.
But
What
you
about
did this
that?
for
That would have
why?
been a 6-letter word.
I
The
have a
expressions.
vague
Again, it's-
idea based on knowing how a lot of things in the UK are pronounced place-wise.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm assuming, like, Bicester?
Oh, you've gone the
I
other
was gonna
way.
say
Or is it Bicester?
Wait. What?
Bicester.
Okay. It is Bicester.
Bicester.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah, Bicester isn't
Just
too
cut
far
part
away.
of that out. Just get it out of there.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
get it out. God, it takes so long. Bicester. Am I 40 years old now because it's taken so long? Bicester. Efficient.
Well, it's like Worcestershire.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is Worcester. as it's
Worcester.
spelled, but-
There's in
Edinburgh.
Massachusetts.
Edinburgh.
There's Worcester, and it's spelled like Worcester stuff.
That'll be
Actually,
the one.
I have the most offensive one. Not
Okay.
offensive in like it's horrible, but Rach told me about this today, actually.
I'm so excited.
And Tim, this is going to be a challenge for you as well.
Oh, is it?
Oh yes.
Why can't you have funny town names like we do, like Buttsex, Maryland?
There's
I suppose
a highway exit in Florida called Yeehaw Junction, and it used to be called Jackass Junction.
I know exactly the answer to this because our places are too old.
Yeah.
So when they were originally named, in the original sort of variations and dialects that they were named, they would have been things like Willie's Old Hole or things like that. But over the years, and you just sort of push it together,
it'll be
called like
Wilson
Wildens or something,
Yeah.
or Wilhull or something like that. So it's because of the places.
There's definitely, I recently learned there's a town called Dildo in Montana.
Oh, excellent
Nice.
stuff.
Is that an M or an H at the beginning?
Oh, sorry, that is an H.
Okay, I
It's
have an
H,
idea. I know how I would
Okay.
pronounce that, but I'm assuming it's
yeah,
gonna
I
be
don't
ridiculous.
know this one. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a go as well.
Yeah. All right.
Happisburg?
Okay. Emily.
I'm gonna go with the shortening thing and go with Hapsburg.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Hapsby.
Okay. Haysborough.
Haysborough.
fuck?
Excellent stuff. Excellent
Why?
stuff.
Yeah.
Because we have towns with borough written in, and those
Yeah.
are ones that trip people up, and it hasn't got that. It's not bothered.
Haysborough.
And do you know why that is? Again, it will almost certainly have been spelled like Edinburgh at some point, and the spelling has changed,
Tim,
but the pronunciation
Tim,
hasn't.
I hate to tell you that is spelled like Edinburgh.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, here's
The-
Moxie coming to the floor.
Yeah.
I forgot how
borough
Edinburgh
bit-
is spelled.
The borough bit is something that we could. It's the Hayes, which is apparently Hayes is spelled Happis, which it'll definitely be like
Oh,
a
I
Norfolk
see.
dialect thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's
I'm trying to think of the one near where my other half lives in Lincolnshire. I won't derail the whole thing because we've started our own counter quiz now.
I mean, this is fun.
I'm here for it.
Don't you have 6 Mile near Amy?
yeah, I think that is one because you've got the 40-foot drain, and I
Good
think
stuff.
there might be. Yeah, you continue with your quiz, and if I suddenly find the name I'm thinking of, I'll just interrupt
Okay.
very rudely.
It's fine.
Perfect.
Oh right,
Mm.
schedule.
Yeah, schedule, or I would say schedule, but I think that's because I have bad face.
I was expecting to hear schedule from you two.
No,
Nope.
I don't think we schedule. No, we schedule it. We don't
Yeah.
schedule it.
Interesting. Maybe
I would
that's
say
just something I've
schedule.
heard in movies then, because we say schedule.
I mean, it also might be that again, like that's how they
Americanized.
said it in the 50s.
This is also true.
Dolly, would you please check my schedule? Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, that you know what? That is probably again a posher southern.
Oh, I don't remember
English.
what it was, but you said something earlier that was like a really exaggerated American pronunciation. You're like, I've never heard this, and I was thinking like I can hear that in a transatlantic accent. Why did that ever go out of style, by the way? Every time I hear a transatlantic accent, I'm just like, nice.
Well, it was invented, wasn't it? It was invented by America, like by Hollywood, when they wanted people to sound posher than they were.
Yeah,
so they were
pretty
like,
much.
you can't do a British accent, but try and do one. So you start talking like this. I can't believe it, and I won't believe it, and I shan't believe it until you go.
I love the
Okay,
transatlantic
onto
accent
this.
so much.
Everyone should talk like that.
Correct.
Like,
Revive
Captain
the
Hepburn.
transatlantic accent 2021. Thank you.
The accent from nowhere.
Yeah. Anyway, next one.
Oh yeah. I found some of them, but I'll come back to it.
privacy.
Privacy.
Okay. Same.
Ooh.
I was
Again,
expecting privacy.
Like, give me my privacy. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it probably
Oh,
actually depends on the sentence structure, doesn't it?
Yeah. Change your privacy settings. Fine.
Yeah,
This is
if
a
it's
private
privacy
room.
settings, it's weird.
Oh, they're different things.
Huh.
I don't think they're
For
different
you.
things. I think they all mean they're all very much the same word, but it's contextual in terms of like. And
Yeah.
you know what? That'll probably be because when we're talking about privacy settings, we're talking about applications, computer stuff. More than likely, it's going to be a American
Except
thing.
that you'd call it privacy settings.
I said privacy settings.
But
Am
no,
I
then you
swapping
just said privacy settings.
Oh, they are interchangeable then, because I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I'm a difficult person to ask because I also pronounce words wrong anyway. Because I
gotta say,
do
a
words
very
bad.
large part of my sense of humor is misspelling things on purpose and pronouncing things wrong on purpose, which is a huge problem because if I try to do it in the other two languages that I attempt to speak, I just look like an idiot.
Languages? What other languages do you speak?
Spanish, quite well. I had like
Better when
12 yeah, that's how you know I'm gone at parties. I start speaking Spanish. But yeah, I took like 12 years of Spanish classes. I'm like very high level intermediate at like at the least.
Yeah.
And then Russian, not super great, but really trying.
Enthusiastic Russian.
Yeah, really enthusiastic. Not crazy great at it though. So yeah, it really doesn't help that my whole sense of humor is pronouncing and spelling things wrong.
And I think on that, you say it better when you're drunk. I think that is known phenomenon. To a certain extent, you get out of your own way in terms of.
Yeah, you're not just like, I might make a mistake and therefore
words.
I can't say anything. You just make the mistake and move on.
I've got one. I'm going to double check this with Amy after the podcast, but I just want to try. Hang on, right. Or I'm trying not to mix up lowercase and uppercase, which is something I also do.
It's fine.
As long as we can pass the word.
Yeah.
Ooh, come on, you.
Okay, well, I know how I would say that, but I'm going to assume it's something ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous, but it's definitely not what you'd think.
Okay, well, if I were just to read that, based on what I see, I would say, like, Whole Beach or something. But I'm going to assume it's, like,
too.
I don't know, Hellbook?
It's whole B. Just whole B. You just forget the end of the word. Don't bother with it.
But
There's no
why?
beach there. But why? Because it's Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
Oh, I've rebuggered up the focus of my camera. Hang on.
Oops.
Right.
Did
Stop.
we suddenly just like
Focus.
move to France for a hot second where you just ignore half the letters at the end? Or
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's because they're so louche. They get halfway through the letter and they're like, "But what is life?"
I've also heard of French described as like you subtract Latin and Spanish, or like you subtract Italian and Spanish. And then
they have. I think they've got quite. They're quite. I don't know how much they are anymore, but they definitely have like the Société de Français, where they're like, "No, this is not a word we will adopt in French." Where like everyone else is like, "All right, you use the word, fine." You know, the Oxford English Dictionary occasionally goes, "We've added it," but nobody's like, "No, this is not French."
Yeah, well, the Académie Française is, I mean, a very French institution.
Yeah.
Super French. Yeah, in possibly the best and worst ways. I think much like the English, some of the things that make us fun and interesting are also the things that make us the worst bunch of wankers you've ever met. Very similar with the French. It's so fun
feel as though
how
the
French
same
they are.
principle could probably be applied to us in some ways.
Yeah.
There
you
are
know
plenty
what?
of
That's probably
aggressively
true.
American things that are a fun time, and some of them are just god awful.
You're never like,
Yeehaw Junction.
come on. The lack of self-awareness that you need to have to just be like, that's what it's called.
And it
Or
used
the
to be
supreme
called
self-awareness.
Jackass Junction.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's where we
Very
keep the
Freudian.
jackasses.
Yeah,
where
like
we
the
keep
one this shirt actually, I planning on wearing this for American Independence Day because that's the one day where I'm like, I know there are so many problems. I'm not talking about it today. Today I am going to be so annoyingly aggressively American. Like that's the one day of the year where I'm just like all the like every joke about like, oh, we don't make tea because we dump it in the harbor, or like free to like, how free are you this weekend? Sends a bald eagle. Like that's my one day.
You basically become like a late 90s, early 2000s WWE character.
Yes.
Yes.
And your character is like Captain Independence Day.
Mm-hmm. Yep, my one day a year.
and then you punch the Iron Sheik in the face in a way that nobody looks at in a diplomat manner.
Sounds about right.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
Any other day, America trash.
Yeah.
July 4th, America, best country in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That is exactly how I do it. Here's what we got.
To quote the great Eddie Izzard,
Love
you say
Eddie
urban,
Izzard.
you say urban, we say herb because there's a fucking H on it.
I'm sorry. Or letters at the
It's a
end
bad
of words.
argument.
We can ignore them at the beginning sometimes.
It's all about the, no, it's all about the ends. You've got to start a word right, you know. If you
Start
want
it as you mean to go on, and then abandon it in a random way in the middle to the end.
What do you-
That's the
do you-
rule.
Go to like court and call the judge your honor.
I certainly do. For the purposes of this argument, yes.
Yes.
I have a writ of habeas corpus. Thank you, Your Honour.
Well, I mean, it is habeas corpus.
Oh, I would say habeas corpus.
corpus.
No, Ben, you're thinking of a herbaceous border.
Oh no, that's an herbaceous border, I think, isn't it?
Oh, I see. No, that's an urbane boredom.
No, what
Ah,
you guys
yeah,
are
yeah.
saying is a name. That's a nickname for Herbert.
Herbert. Oh, come on, Herb. Get in the van. Herb, don't be like that. We gotta get to Fort Lauderdale.
Can you do an American Can either of you do American accents?
No.
I
I mean,
can
badly. But
do like a you. Oh, hang on. Because if you do it gently, it's more convincing. Like, okay, there's this and there's that, and you put it over there, and you sign it, and it's fine.
Okay.
And that's sort of like a reasonable American. But then if you think about it too hard, you start to sound like this. I'm an American, not an Americant. But then again, I do hear recordings of Americans that do sound like
Sound
that.
just
It's
like
it's a big old country.
Yeah, there's a lot of regional dialects here. I will say that.
A lot of regional fun. I love a Louisiana sort of down the bow sort
The
of
drawl, yeah.
the drawl. The
I'm
drawl's great.
I'm a big fan of the Virginia Tidewater accent, but that's like really like a very like hyper specific, like super soft Southern type accent.
Sort of a very gentle.
Yeah.
I also am a big fan of the Boston accent, even though it is entirely comprehensible when at full flow.
Oh yeah, love a Boston
Mhm.
accent. It's ridiculous, but I love it.
Is it like because it's like English and German and Dutch? It's like one of those.
oh, no, there's a huge Irish influence on the Boston
Yeah.
accent as well.
Is it? Oh yes,
which
of
is why they're all
course.
so goddamn Irish.
That's why they're more Irish than people in Ireland. They certainly bring it up more.
They're probably more enthusiastic about being Irish than people in Ireland are. except in one very specific way.
Although
Yeah,
I gotta
except-
say,
and-
I feel like that
During an Orange March.
specifically happens a lot in America because there isn't like a unified ethnic like at least in
You
the current
yeah,
America.
It is the classic sort of like back to your roots immigrant story of that world of like I'm Irish, and it's like you're American and
Yeah,
you've lived in
I was
America and your
thinking
dad's
exactly
American
that.
and your
It's like-
grandfather's American. You're American. It's like no, I'm Irish. You're like okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like there isn't
Whereas-
much of a unified like this is like I can ethnic American. I can point to exactly this, and this. So
And isn't there Pennsylvania? Dell?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
a big-
that's where the Amish come from, isn't it?
yes,
Oh, yeah, fair enough. And you know what? Yes, and that would make sense because Pennsylvania's near New York, and New York was New Amsterdam, so that's where they.
And also,
that's
like,
where they
'cause-
stuck in.
Did the Amish come out of like the levelers and the shovelers and that lot? You know, the sort of Quaker, the hardcore Quakers who were like, we're going to go live on communes.
Yes, think
Yes.
I mean, the kind of people
far
who
as I
left
know.
Europe because they were going to be killed for being Quaker.
yeah.
Yes, there's some mix of like a mixture of people who are like, I'm leaving for America because my religion is persecuted, and the Puritans who are like, I want to persecute religion, so they won't let me, so we're coming as well.
Yeah, my whole family kind of came like, well, there's no food. Bye.
Yeah,
No.
it's time to go.
Yeah.
That field is fucking empty.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, so
And
that's
in
Land
a
of
way-
opportunity. It's just so empty.
yeah, that's
in a
how I
way-
wound
No
up
one
here.
lives here.
In a way, partially America's fault because could have never taken Ireland if America had never been discovered to give
Now,
us the potato.
You say it's America's fault, but
No,
it-
America's don't. No, it's America's fault entirely. Nothing to
that
do
might
with
be
England and the Empire.
entirely
No,
the British Empire's fault.
no. It was
okay.
the Dutch giving the Irish potatoes, coarse
see-
potato blight. Nothing to do with us at any
So
point.
I thought it was using basically an entire country as a single crop plantation.
No,
and then
I
taking
don't.
all of the potatoes and then so you get to start because we have all
That
the
sounds.
potatoes
That
and they're
doesn't
ours, not
sound
yours.
like us, though, Ben. It doesn't sound like something we do, so I don't understand.
That's true. We did just go around giving good trains and cool hedges to people, and there was
Trains,
no problems.
hedges, cricket, the English
Yes.
language, whether they liked it or not. You know, all of these great things with no drawbacks. Oh, and also fight for us in World War II. Thank
yes.
you
Don't
very
get
much.
polio.
And polio.
Yep.
Enjoy. One of our dark alleys.
Love that for us. Although, I mean, like, we are from two intensely imperialistic nations, history-wise.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like we were
I
going to
was-
go
I
down
was-
that path no matter what.
I was listening because a lot of that stuff came from like the Teddy Roosevelt administration and that sort of time when like you started being like, oh, maybe we could, you know, like the Spanish-American War and things like that when America, like colonies, no empires, that's all we would get. Oh, that does look nice though.
Yeah.
That does look nice. I
little bit.
kind of want Hawaii. Puerto Rico looks good, you know. The Philippines is how you got involved in all of that. Just
Yeah.
sort of like at one point people were like, never, you should never do this, and if you do it, it's evil. Actually, we're doing it, but for good reasons, and it's fine, actually. And then, bam, you've got General MacArthur. Happens just like that.
Just, like, looks away, like,
I pretend I do not see.
Yeah, I pretend
That's
I do not
American
see it.
history in a nutshell.
yeah.
If you open an American textbook, it's just full of pretend you do not see.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was empty, we're pretty sure, so we took it over. There were some people, it's not important.
Yeah.
There's an actual like, it's an elementary school textbook, but it's basically saying that like, oh, the settlers came and the Native Americans liked them so much they decided to share the land with them.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a little bit like, you know, you've got British textbooks which are like, well, there was Henry VIII, and then the English Civil War, and then World War II happened.
And then World War
Yeah.
II. There's nothing in between.
We beat the Nazis because we're the good guys.
No help.
Yep.
Thank you.
All good.
USSR.
Because like, in
That's
our
alright.
textbooks, it's like, and then World War II happened, and everybody was so bad at it that America had to get involved.
Guys,
Although
guys,
we are the
guys,
same
you're
in
warring
ignoring the contributions of the USSR
Yeah.
That's
in
true.
in smashing the Nazis.
Instrumental. And you know what? It turns out you can smash the Nazis and be bad. Oh wait, that was both of us.
Yeah, that
Yay!
was in fact everyone. Because it was all
Everyone's-
just colonial powers fighting with one another.
Everyone's a wank.
Everyone sucks.
Everyone.
Anyway,
Back to funny words.
back to funny words.
Pasta.
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 Well, now you sound like
you sound
sort
like-
of very upper middle class.
It's
Hey, darling, have you? Could you hand me the pasta?
Same letter.
This
Yeah.
puttanesca pasta
So you
is-
pronounce
simply sublime.
the same way. Pasta.
I think it's
Pasta.
how would the Italians say it?
Probably pasta. There's a lot of
Pasta.
American
Pasta.
stuff like cilantro and the other ones. They're just
Zucchini?
Italian, yeah, zucchini is just Italian words. Whereas
Although I
we've got, you know,
suppose-
courgette and what's cilantro? Coriander?
Coriander, which do you know what? It's
I know
probably
that
we got
'cause of
them. I
Sweeney
think
Todd.
Ah,
courgette will be French, so maybe it's because
Yes.
we bought them from the French. And you know
Probably.
what? Coriander could
it
easily
might
be
even
French
be
as well.
it might even be the fucking Normans, Tim, coming
Could-
over here.
Fucking Norman!
Fucking lamb.
You thought fucking
Christ.
herb was bad. You meet Norman, he's a
I had a
right
lovely
cat.
cow. Fucking Frenchman came over. He called it a boof. So
He
I've now
called
got
it
to
a
call
boof.
it boof.
I got well, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
when
that's
it's walking
why.
around,
Like
it's
that's
a cow.
why there's different words for like the living livestock animal and then
Yeah.
the food, but not fish, because that was peasant food, and the peasants weren't speaking
Peasants.
French.
Same thing. Yeah,
Peasant.
basically.
Don't know where I learned that, but it has been burned into my mind for quite a while.
Pork, ham, ham. Where does ham come from? Why is
I don't know.
ham?
But like you've got like lamb and mutton, lamb and I've just said that.
Cow, beef.
Gammon is obviously very cow and beef.
Although, to complicate things, lamb and mutton is also different in that lamb is young
Young
sheep.
and
Oh, so
Mutton
it's like
is
beef
old
versus
sheep.
veal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, except weirdly, almost everything that's sold is the young one that we seem fine
everyone's
with
like,
that.
oh no, lamb's the only one, but veal's weird. And it's like, hang on, we're
Yeah.
just killing juvenile sheep.
Yeah,
and it's
if it's an adult sheep, it's mutton. Mutton's lived, damn it.
Yeah.
Mutton's given a chance to regret its loss of life, whereas lamb is just like, I don't know.
Interesting. Good to know.
You know what though? What's worse? Death right out the gate or just that quality of life?
It's true. And you know what? I think we'll solve this one here. Let's apply it to humans. Let's really get big with this. Okay, so die
Oh.
young without knowing, or old and bitter. Thoughts? Back to the fun words.
Sometimes I wish I wasn't sentient.
And that is what we hope to achieve whenever we appear on a podcast.
Good times. In an old episode of the podcast, me and Maddie and one of our guests were doing a meme review, and we were looking at misspelled signs, and my friend pointed out that the way that the person had misspelled the sign wouldn't work if it was in the UK, because the word they had misspelled was this.
Oh, we're waiting for your video to catch up.
Oh shit.
So Oh yeah.
wait. Well, they've misspelled garage, but
Yes. We say that as
I felt that wouldn't make a difference.
say it as garage.
Yeah.
And they had misspelled it on the sign as GROJ, and we were laughing at that. Garage sale.
Oh,
Garage.
And my friend pointed out, she was like this clearly has to have occurred in the United States because
you've only heard it.
Because you've only heard it spelled like pronounced that way.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
So.
Because if you saw the letters GROJ and just like they were like, take your best guess as to what that means.
Which would be like grudge, and I'd be like, is that some sort of orc? Is that from
or,
Warhammer?
Yeah.
Or gros, which is a kind of hat. A French hat.
Interesting. But yeah. Garage.
Or just garage, one syllable.
Yeah.
Garage. In Boston.
Garage.
There's
In
a
the
lot
garage.
of kind of one syllabling of things that are clearly spelled out as like it would have to have two syllables just with the amount of letters that are happening.
Yeah.
A lot of that
And that's how
happens
they
over here.
catch you. I wonder if it is. You know, like how when the Industrial Revolution happened, posh people got all up to you about the number of forks so they could work out who was proper rich and who was just merely had money. And I wonder if there's a certain amount of like, we'll make our language obtuse on purpose so we can catch outsiders. Like, oh, you pronounce that fork with you because you're not from here.
I feel like that whole I would buy that.
It'd work. They just point to a sign and be like, say that.
Read it.
Yeah.
And you'd be like,
What is this? And you'd be like, I don't know what a grudge is. What is a grudge?
into the river.
Into the lake. Yeah.
Into the lake.
Lots of letters here.
Aluminium.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Okay, so I would
haven't
say
you spelt it the British way?
I was about to say, spelled that way, yes, but you spelled it wrong.
Because aluminum just doesn't have an I in it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there were different spellings. I've just been writing it like that,
Yeah.
like literally always.
I also didn't know. I thought it was purely a pronunciation thing.
Yeah, no,
there were different
aluminum
spellings.
just straight up, that just doesn't have an I. So it's the word is pronounced as you'd expect both times. It's just actually spelled differently.
Huh, I'm just unobservant is what it is.
It's, you know what? It's
Actually, Bridget, though, I looked at the page for the planning, and I saw that word, and I was like, wait, did she spell that wrong? So then I looked it up, and I just learned this morning that it is two different
No.
spellings.
You've got the old sort of like teaching kids sort of method. You just have to be one lesson ahead, and then you can look real fucking smart.
Yeah.
Just because you found out what 1066 is doesn't mean they have to know.
Yeah.
Because actually, does that made it over? Do you like have?
True. What,
Yeah,
what is
do you know what
1066?
No.
Nope.
No.
Is the Battle of Hastings.
Of Hastings,
When William
the
the
Norman
Conqueror-
invasion.
Yeah.
We have certain stuff. I'm sure every country has it. Like, well, you'd have like a lot.
1770.
1776.
1776.
And 1812 probably
Yep.
matters in a lot of Europe. Just
Yeah,
areas where
okay.
you can just say a date, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Here, that means... Nah, I just didn't know by the UK in terms of your education system. I don't know if we were still like, learn about the Norman invasion, damn it!
Yeah, not quite. That one
Not quite.
didn't really
Super not
focus on
relevant, I
that.
feel. Yeah.
My textbooks growing up all started in like 1750.
Yeah,
So
When history began.
That is true. That is true.
And on the 7th day, it was the mid-1700s, and Britain had colonized the 14 colonies.
yeah.
Although, then as you get into, like, or at least when I was in high school and was getting into, like, global history, they would kind of start with, like, Mesopotamia and shit.
Yeah, that's pretty far back.
Or, like, kind of
Yeah, that's pretty
world
far back. Start of-
civilizations type thing.
Well, that's the first, like, agriculturally complex... Was it, what did they invent? When you move
Terrace
water around...
farming?
Irrigation.
Yeah.
Irrigation. Like, irrigated farming and things like that, when you had, like, enough crops to... big cities and things like that.
Yeah, or at least
'Cause
that's
then
what I
it would be
remember
like
from
the-
when I was, like, 16.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sure there are. I think they have now worked out that there's probably big societies from before then. It's just that there's not enough historical record, and it's
Well,
very
it's the
spotty.
kind of thing as well of like these people had to build using materials or make things out of materials that just survive, because if you know, like, you're just not going to know that these things existed because they're gone.
Yeah. Big. I'm gonna get the empires wrong because I listened to the podcasts out of order, but it's like the one that was replaced by the Persian Achaemenids Empire. This, oh god, was it
Sumerians?
Might have been. Anyway,
Byzantine?
basically, they were around, but it's not who I'm thinking of. But basically, it was that sort of thing of like they were the biggest empire. They were an empire around Iran back
Mhm.
when that wasn't called sort of like civilization was, and they were destroyed, and it was the fall of Nimil or something. I can't remember now. I'll look it up and be really irritated later. But basically, like 40 years later, like the Persians turned up or somebody like that, and were like, "What's this big giant city with these? We've never seen a city this big." And all the locals were like, "We don't know." Like it was 40 years ago, but there's no historical record because there wasn't. We have no idea what this is. Just a big fucking thing here. We don't know. They didn't. There was just that quickly the largest empire known up until that point in that part of the world. 40, 50 years later, just a big city that's about.
I'm
I don't know
gonna
who
be
it is.
literally
Googling
dies out in
that
generation.
later.
Yeah,
That is
I can't
so
remember.
interesting.
I'm gonna have to look it up, otherwise I'm not gonna think of anything else during the rest of this show.
But also, I think also the Byzantines were the precursors to the Ottomans. I think.
Yeah, they'd have been later then, wouldn't they? Because the Byzantine Empire is the Western Roman
Eastern Roman Empire.
So that'd be well.
And it got
after
weirdly Christian, and everyone's called like
the Holy
Dave.
Roman. Yeah. Holy Roman Empire, Batman.
I do science.
Yeah, and I do
Like,
I do
I do
media.
science.
I do media.
Well, I'm an English student, so I learn nothing but the ability to bullshit. So
Yeah, similarly, I'm a Nineveh. Who they're a real bunch of bastards, often described as the ancient Nazis.
oh really, very
Yeah.
militaristic and
So the Persians were Assyrian. Yeah, it was the Assyrian. Assyrian. So the Assyrians fell, and then the Persians took over, and yeah, the whole thing with the Assyrians was what we found is these big freezes that they did, which are almost exclusively the torture and murder and dismemberment of their enemy. Get a load of what we did to them. We put it on the wall.
aren't we
Don't
great?
fuck with Assyria. Was their whole deal.
Do you think maybe when the Persians turned up and asked everybody, well, what is that big city? They were all like, just don't fucking,
Just don't fucking,
I
just
don't.
Don't.
We don't know.
Please,
Just
you
no one
just-
talk about them.
Don't look at that
Got rid of
freeze.
them. Yeah. Don't
Um,
get any fucking ideas.
Yeah, essentially.
And they are in the Mesopotamian region, but when Persia took over, they were by contrast, like still a country that would, burn everything out, kill everyone, but they were like remarkably quote unquote liberal for the time, because they would be like, hey, as long as you just give us your stuff, we don't care what god you worship. Just do a deal with us and we're fine. However, if you do betray us, we will get very Assyrian with you, and all will be dust. But for the time, that was like, hey, these guys are pretty cool, pretty chill bunch of dudes. These Persians.
So much learning going on here.
What a chill dude.
I'm a big
Anyway,
fan.
I'll stop with my rapidly Googled history lesson.
I love knowing more fun facts that I can just annoy people with. But that is the end of the words I have written down. So now we're kind of moving into the two different words for the same thing. And I have a bunch of things written, so it's like I describe what it is, so it's, again, avoiding being like, I'll tell you the right way type shit.
Yeah.
So what would you two call the back part of a car where you store things?
A boot.
The boot.
Trunk.
Boot.
Boot. Boot. It's where you keep the boots.
And how you have car boot sales.
And also a glove compartment.
Oh, we have glove
For all
compartments.
Oh, we have that.
Oh, I see. I didn't know if
I
you
don't know
called it-
why.
Yeah, it's where you keep all your fucking gloves, isn't it, mate?
Yeah.
You know.
Our stuff full of gloves.
Stuff
It's
full
not
of
true, I
gloves.
don't own a car.
I feel
a
like that's because
boot,
you used to drive like a car
There'd be
was
driving
an open
gloves.
thing, and you had to wear like
Yeah.
gloves and like a dust jacket and stuff.
Yeah, I suppose now it would be like the car manual you never read compartment.
Yep.
Also probably Tic Tacs and maybe a map, which isn't as good
Yeah,
a name.
not quite
too
as
long.
catchy.
You call it the shit box, but again, sounds bad. Box to keep the shit in, you know, the car shit. Shit I keep in the car. Shit box.
I think it's funny that you guys say boot.
Boot.
Why is
so-
that?
Yeah.
So,
Do you
what-
mock difference?
is that your deal?
Then what would you call the shoes you wear in the rain?
We
Boots.
wouldn't probably call them. Oh, I thought this was going to be a galoshes thing.
Oh no.
Oh no, I just
I think a galosh is like a
boots-
very specific thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
you
like,
wear boots on the bottom, so like tires would be like a car's boots because it's what's touching the ground, in my opinion.
You know what? It's good because it like a trunk. Like in old cars, there would literally be.
yeah,
a,
like
a
that's why I feel
travelling
like
trunk on the
we
back.
still
Yeah.
call it that.
Hang on, I'm just googling things.
Yeah, I'm looking up why it's called a car boot because I don't know.
Why is it called a car boot? 18th century horse-drawn carriages where coachmen sat on a chest, which was a boot locker. It was where you
Ah.
kept.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Interesting.
There you go.
So
There you go.
No.
same broad like etymology, just slightly different roots to it, but it's still like the box where stuff was kept.
Very interesting. So the second one I have would be an article of clothing that is usually made out of wool, and you wear it in winter.
A jumper?
A sweater.
I mean, I'd also call it a sweater.
Okay.
I do. I think that's probably an American movies thing. Like, I can't
Yeah.
imagine being like, I can't imagine going into M&S and saying, "Excuse me, where do you keep your sweaters?"
That's-
Oh,
It's
no.
a it'd be
Interesting.
jumpers,
Yeah.
maybe a pullover, but that's thinner.
A
Interesting.
pullover is like a sweatshirt. in
Yeah,
my
I would say
opinion.
like a hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is what we think of. Because we call them hoodies as well, because they're
Okay.
got hoods. But I think a pullover is
Oh.
like a cardigan that doesn't button up, so it's like thinner. It's not quite a jumper. It's a pullover.
Interesting. I would call like if I had like I have like a Patagonia like quarter zip jacket type thing. I would call that a pullover.
I think we call that a coat. I think that'd be into
I just
coat
call that a
territory.
quarter zip because it's got a
zip.
quarter zipper.
I mean, valid. That
Is this
sure
one,
is
then?
what it is.
Yeah,
Is this
that's a
one?
quarter zip.
That's a quarter zip. Again, I probably call this a. You know what? I might call this a jumper, even though it's quite thick.
Oh, actually, in the quick tangent, in the realm of sort of fuck dude, it sure is type shit. Ben, you might know this. During the last Gaming and Giving, when Johnny and Alex were reading things from people, and somebody sent in the Magnus Archives is a podcast. Fuck dude, it sure is.
Hmm.
That was me.
Ah, nice.
That was me.
I was thinking, I was like, I don't know how to react. I was like, oh, okay, cool, right, okay. It's like,
Because every time I would be listening to that, and it would get to the end and be like, the Magnus Archives is a podcast, and I'd just be like, yeah,
Yeah.
Sure is. Sure is, dude.
You're not wrong.
Also, I like your Johnny impression.
Magnus Archives.
One small brag. I'm pretty good at accents.
Yeah, you are.
Like, I could probably, like...
Well, let's,
I mean, you know 3 languages.
Listen to your British accent, then.
I was a really annoying kid, and I, like, consumed nothing but, like, British media, to the point where once I went to a summer camp, and I spoke in a British accent for an entire week, because there were 2 counsellors there who were from the UK.
You know what? The UK sounded really good. The rest of it sounds a bit like Malfoy in Harry Potter.
It was. I was getting Big Emma Watson.
And my problem is that it changes based on who I'm listening to. Like, I need an example.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's pretty damn good, but it is sort of slightly overpronounced in the way that everybody will do it when they're going into an accent.
But also,
occasionally, but not bad, not bad at all.
I was going to say, but also it is done in that kind of way that all of British actors do when they are being sort of boarding school children. You know, it's very much the kind of like, oh hello, I'm in a Richard Curtis movie and I live in Kensington with my mum.
Nightly.
Yeah.
So
I got told it was kind of like the posh accent.
It is.
Well, it's very much the ones where kind of
British person in movie.
Kooky British rom-coms, which is like one of the biggest exports. So of course it makes sense that it was.
But yeah, I was an incredibly annoying child who just too much Harry Potter, so much Doctor Who, and
all the niches.
Yeah, pretty much. Although if
it's quite difficult.
Listen to like someone doing like whatever like specific regional British accent for like a little while, I can usually kind of get it.
Yeah.
Also with most accents, like
it's good, but it's a shame it's such a source of, shall we say, historical trouble, because doing accents is so much fun.
It really
but you've really got to pick your place.
Yeah.
Because we've got bad history of being like, you know what, this is so much fun, I'm going to dress up, alter the colour of my skin on television to do this accent, and then you're into a bad place.
You just treat accents like jokes, don't punch down.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really it, right?
I can do an American accent, I can do the French. French can go fuck themselves, we fought each other a fair bit. Germans, they know what they did. Russians, fine, we've never once colonized Russia.
Yeah. They're an imperial power. Fuck, it's all good.
Fuck them. Portuguese, they invade loads. Fuck it, I'll do a Portuguese accent.
I would not know how to do a Portuguese accent. No. It would just be Spanish.
I think it's Spanish with a lot more th.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more.
Spain Spanish, because I learned kind of like in school, we learned kind of very standard like Mexico, Puerto Rico Spanish. Spain Spanish has a lot of the th. Like they would say like gracias.
Peninsular is Spanish. And then I suppose it depends as well, because as you go further north, it's going to be different. Then it's going to be Catalonian, and it's going to get a bit weird on you.
Well, that's not the whole thing about like a British accent. What is that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and there's
this would get sent. It's like an American accent, right? But there is no American accent.
Y'all ever heard a fucking Minnesota accent?
Or Minnesota.
Worst goddamn thing.
Fargo accent. Oh, I love them.
Oh, that would prevent me from marrying someone.
Oh, Minnesota.
I couldn't listen to that for the rest of my life.
I don't know, it's a very friendly accent.
It is really friendly.
It's why it's so good for Fargo, because you can say really menacing things in a really sort of innocent accent.
You're like,
oh, you hid the body where? In the trunk? We call it a boot. Oh, I'm being stabbed.
Fargo, 10 out of 10 movie, TBH.
Strong and good series. Did a damn good job at least the first series. Oh, it's good. Martin Freeman's a real ding-dong in it. But he's good.
Good to know. We'll add that to my list of just so many things I should
add it
watch
to the list.
But haven't.
Yeah, add it to your list of regret that you can look at as you die. That's what it's for.
Oh
Because see, you'll have grown enough to make a list of regret.
Yes.
Not a lamb killed at the beginning of your life.
Name the list, my mutton regrets.
Yeah, no, truly. I am mutton.
Okay.
I'm afraid he's become mutton. Time of mutton, 2:45.
So, what sport do they play during the World Cup?
Oh, piss off.
Fuck
No,
off.
here's the thing. I'm on your side.
Good.
I think
Yeah,
it's
they
stupid that we took what you guys call football and made up our own sport and called that football.
But you
You
mainly
play-
carry it.
You play armor rugby.
I think
You do
that's
play it.
the thing that we should call soccer.
Or it's not armor rugby. It's fucking nerd rugby.
Oh, I see.
Because it's rugby that mainly takes place on a graph.
That's true.
Or a
It is
whiteboard.
very graph.
And I'm not being
graph-wide.
disparaging about American football because it's a fascinating game, but it is a really fucking nerdy game.
I have never
It's a lot of-
understood
The thing
American
that
football.
kills me about American football is that they take like a whole minute to decide what they're gonna do, and
Yeah.
then they run for 5 seconds, and then it's time to talk about what we're gonna do
Yeah.
in a minute. Like,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I am
Yeah.
I
It's
am on the
weird.
side of you two. I think the thing that y'all call football and we call soccer, we should everyone should call that football. The shit we made
I
up
agree.
should be
I
called
think-
soccer.
Is it because rugby, which is closer to American football than football, is called rugby football because it was football invented at rugby school in England?
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
is
I
different
don't
from
know.
the traditional, game. Football is, traditional. We've been kicking stuff around into posts since forever. And so, if it's gone over as rugby football into America, obviously you're going to just call it
Call it
football. You're not going to
American
invent it,
football, yeah.
And I think the English used to call what we now call football soccer earlier, and we've dropped it. And obviously, with a lot of American stuff, it's what things were called in the past before you stopped taking in outside influences. Just-
I have heard that the American accent is closer to like
oh yeah, like a 16th century English accent.
yeah,
Yeah.
like they're
Yeah.
Well,
like
it's-
Shakespeare like should be in what is now quote unquote an American accent.
Well, I think they reckon it's basically an American accent crossed with a West Country accent, and it's like a
Interesting.
really obviously weird because it's 400 years old. But yeah, which is weird because it doesn't explain why America is Shakespeare. So and that is a hill I will die on.
Yeah. He's already mutton up there.
That's because it's all too declamatory. It's too dramatic.
Okay,
I
so-
actually really I hated reading Shakespeare when I was in school because I was like, this makes me feel like an idiot. But then they do this thing like where they've like recorded some of the like British like Shakespeare Company like plays and they've like shown them in like movie theaters as like a special event. And I'm like, I get it now. Like you really do need to hear it. I'm like, this
Yeah,
makes
and
so much more sense. I hated reading it, but then I'm listening
And-
to it and I'm like, yeah, nice.
And
And you need it with like proper conversational context because then you get like the dirty jokes and shit, which is why I fucking hate Laurence Olivier's school and like Kenneth Branagh, where they're all like, "I'm doing Shakespeare," and it's like, "Fuck off!" It's
There's a
EastEnders,
really,
right? It's just
really great. It's just a section of a recording of like a Shakespeare play. It's Andrew Scott,
Sure.
and I can't remember which one it is, but the way he's speaking, it literally sounds like he's like just coming up with these things, like
Yeah.
as he's
doing
saying them, like
proper
the way
acting.
one does in a conversation. I was like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
So yeah,
I've looked it up. So football is a medieval game.
Gotcha.
Its rules were standardized.
Well, that's the one village fights another village, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Two villages against each other. That became when the rules got standardized. It
Mhm.
became rugby football, which is you play with your hands,
gotcha.
and association football. And rugby football became rugby or rugger. Association football became soccer because it's the middle of the word association. Association football, soccer.
Oh,
Oh.
I thought we
And
just
so-
made shit up.
So that is a UK term that we've stopped using, but was use, like early 1800s, late, mid 1800s, when we were still a bit more passing words back and forth. Yeah,
Interesting.
You kept
And
it.
it has
we got
nothing
rid.
to do with socking the ball, which I always assumed that was what it was.
No.
What it was.
I
No,
always
didn't
thought.
know that either. Thanks, Business Insider.
See, I always thought what like American football should be called soccer because they're sucking into each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be fair, we've only very recently, because they used to have soccer annuals, and that was a thing. So it's like the 60s and the 1970s where we were still calling it soccer. So I don't know why we're getting so hung up about it now. Like, oh, it's not called soccer, it's called football, when 30 years ago we were calling it soccer. I think the British are unreasonable about this, even though it makes more sense to call the one you play with your feet football now.
Well, I think
Yeah.
it might also be the case because it's the rest of the world versus like the US, because it's
Yes.
it's FIFA and UEFA, like all the international bodies call themselves like the football. So then
Yeah.
the US are like, no, it's called soccer, and the rest of the world is like, oh,
That is a
come on.
slang term.
I mean, we also really don't care about football
No,
slash
until you're winning.
soccer in the
Until
way.
you're winning, and
Yeah.
then you're full on board.
Yeah, last World Cup, suddenly, or the Women's World Cup, suddenly America was like, whoa, soccer.
Which we in England have
Hey,
never
you
done.
could say.
Yes.
We support our sports uniformly throughout the year. We always care about rowing all the time,
Well, no,
not
to be-
just during the.
Yeah, I mean, the football is the one where we do just care all the time, despite being kind of rubbish.
Yeah, well, Ben, I don't. Well, it's the Euros right now, and I don't know if you've heard. It is coming home. So
Is it?
I've heard it's coming home.
The Euro Cup or plate? What do they win?
It's a baguette. You win a golden baguette, and it's
That's
coming
so
home.
fun.
Right.
I did go to
I do-
European football, like soccer match when I was in St. Petersburg, and it was a fun time. I enjoyed myself.
It's not bad. It can be. I much prefer rugby. I think rugby is more fun to watch. I think there's more going on, and yeah, the fact that football is a game in which people can play very well, and at the end of it, it's 0-0.
Yeah,
and nothing's happened.
Right.
that's
Does
kind of
occur to me
that
as a
can happen
flaw.
in American football too. It's really kind of annoying. And I
Yes.
prefer like
Yeah.
baseball and hockey are the two sports. I don't really like to watch sports, but like going to a hockey game, very fun.
Ugh.
Such like
It's
just
so
super
frenetic.
rowdy, great time. And I
I s-
have played softball. I played softball as a kid, so like baseball, I like actually understand what's happening. So like if like the World Series is on, I will watch it.
and baseball is mostly maths. Like the stats involved are incredible.
Oh yeah,
Like
shit.
cricket,
Oh, yeah.
we treat cricket in a very similar way. But with hockey, I was in St. Petersburg the one time I Russia. I went to St. Petersburg, and we saw St. Petersburg versus Moscow, and it was all on. They did not like each other.
Oh
and
my
the
god,
riot
when
police were there.
I was in college, like we both went to the same college, and it's like it's a hockey, like it's not like Division 1, which is like crazy sports reputation, but like our hockey was the popular sport there. And and my mom was like, you're not allowed to go to Russia unless you go to a hockey game, because I like kept putting it off for whatever reason. She's like, you're not allowed to go until you go to a hockey game. And I went to a hockey game. It was really fucking fun.
It's good.
Those
Good
hockey
stuff.
games were too much.
I miss
But
the
it was a
religious
blast.
experience.
Yeah.
I went to see when we were doing a politics trip to America. I went to see the hockey in DC and watch the Washington Caps play. Oh God, it might have been the New York team.
Buffalo Sabres.
Sabres.
There
I
it was.
At this point, it was
Yeah,
all
they
Much about hockey. That's the only team I know that's from New
Ah.
York. So
The thing is, with the way they move around in the US, it could have been like the Philadelphia Swans back when he was watching it, and now it's the
Yeah.
new Buffalo Hawks,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
which
but
I don't think we really do. I think our country's not big enough for you to. I suppose
also just
the
good
MK
franchises.
Dons did that. Milton Keynes bought. I can't remember who they bought, but they.
yeah. That's why everyone hates him. I think.
Yeah. Also, the MK is a very strange name.
Well, Milton Keynes is a very strange place.
Yeah. it's
I
true.
mean, take it or leave it, but a lot of the names are changing right now because the old ones were racist.
yeah.
Oh yes.
Yes.
And so, like,
Well, yes, one particular Washington team.
it's a good thing, but also the fact that it existed in the first place.
Do we know what they are calling that Washington team now? Because for a while I thought like a group of Native American activists was just call it the Red Hawks. Like next question.
Currently, it is the one football team.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
inspired.
Inspired.
Really
That is
creative solution.
That is the real. We are backing away from this and
Yeah.
nothing else. The Washington.
Washington brand American football.
Yeah, I don't know why it
Yeah,
was
Red
such a
Hawks,
big
Red
deal
Hawks could be
when
fun.
so many people were just
Yeah.
like, just call it the Red Hawks, problem solved.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Call
Washington
it something else.
Bald Eagles.
Yeah, the Washington Americans are great. Do
Yeah.
that. Fine.
Washington George Washingtons.
Washington Washingtons would be fucking
Absolutely.
excellent.
There used to
I'm
be a
gonna
baseball
just- yeah.
team, if you've ever heard of the musical Damn Yankees, there used to be a baseball team called the Washington Senators.
Washington Senators.
That's
yeah.
good. That's a good.
Is-
That is a good name.
Is that who the Washington Generals are taking the piss out of? In basketball, in the Harlem Globetrotters show.
Oh, I
Is
have
that
no
what they
idea.
play
I
the
know
Washington
nothing
Generals,
about
don't they?
basketball.
No,
No, I don't know.
I thought the Washington Generals are like they're just actually a basketball team, but they will.
No, they're a team that play because the fake
Oh, I
team
thought they were a
that
real team that were
loses-
foils to.
No, well they
Oh,
they
okay.
are, but the thing is, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters will win, so you're
Yes.
playing on a basketball team that is going to lose. So obviously, it's a
Ah,
show.
okay.
It's a show. They're not real basketball games. They're shows.
Yeah.
And the Washington. It must be a weird job. It's like I play basketball professionally. Well, in a show. Well, I'm part of the team that I'm part of the white nerdy team that loses and everyone boos
Yeah.
because of the things we've done. What I do with my life. I hope it's well paid because it seems bleak.
Well, I mean, I guess it's no different to being in a circus, right? Like,
Yeah, but you'd
you're just
like to dunk occasionally, right?
Points taken.
but then it's like being a oh, I forget what they call them, but you know the wrestlers who make their entire career out of losing.
Oh,
like
the baby heels, crybaby heels, and things
no,
like that.
no, they've got a different name, and I think it's not to do with face heel. It's
Oh.
they lose. That's their
You
point.
lose,
They
yeah,
lose.
yeah. You lose against good people.
And
I know that
And
there's a
actual,
whole
like,
thing like that in the Mexican kind of like luchador.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's
Absolutely,
like
they're
the
very
villains and
Yeah, there's faces, heels, and then you have like baby faces and crybaby heels and things like that. But there is a specific, like, I don't know, it's like called a body man or something, where your job is come in and lose in a technically proficient manner, so that the other wrestler looks really good.
Yeah, the Wharf.
fun.
Dwarf.
In in Star Trek, because whenever they had Star Generation with Worf, the Klingon guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Yeah.
Star Trek fan, I just know this, but basically it's Worf existed because he was a security officer to get beaten up by a foe in order to show how powerful the foe is, because it's like, oh wow, they beat Worf.
They got
who's-
Worf.
But the problem is they did that so much that it just made Worf look like a really wimpy Klingon, because he just always got beat up. He never came up against an adversary who he could win against, because they were always supposed to be more powerful than him.
Yeah.
So
You're
he just
always
looks like an idiot.
Kind of
You're always
backfired.
meeting the most powerful.
Like that you had to clarify. Like, oh no, I'm not a Star Trek
I'm not-
fan.
Well, it's
but-
more
Not a
because-
nerd.
Well, no, it's just to make it clear that this knowledge is very surface level, and it will fall down if I'm quizzed at all in any
No
more depth.
follow-up questions, please.
Yes, pretty much. Pretty much.
Okay.
Might be a job man.
Good bit, job, man.
Interesting.
Or as the Scottish would call it, a jobby.
A jobby. Yeah.
That is a joke for the Scottish listeners.
I don't know
That's
if we have
actually-
any.
yes. Do you know what a?
No.
Yeah,
well,
yes.
Do you want to guess at what a jobby is?
What's a jobby?
No, I'm scared.
I will. Okay, I will tell you. It is not.
It's
it
not
is-
sexually explicit.
Well, no, it's not obscene in a way which would be bad to guess. So if there's anything in your head that you think I shouldn't say that, it's not that.
It's not that.
Okay.
Every guess I have is out the window.
Oh, right, okay. It's one of the classics. It's pretty straightforward.
Yep, down the line. Toddlers would love it.
What?
It's
It's just-
poo.
It's good old-fashioned poo.
It's a poo. And you
The
call somebody a
toddler's favourite
jobby.
word.
It's like calling somebody a turd, you know.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You would call somebody a wee jobby,
I
which I think me saying that in my accent has made any Scottish person be like, "Ah, oh."
Yeah. But don't do it in the accent. That's a different
You
kind
did,
of bad.
Tim. You did a good Scottish accent the first time you were
That
on
was-
here, and you
that
were
was
like,
because
"Am
I
I
was-
allowed to say cunt?"
That was because I was recounting a Scottish story from my Scottish friend, and it only worked in the accent.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah, cunt. Yeah. But yes, I learned some more Scottish slang, but it is too explicit
I
to repeat
love
in
Scottish
mixed company.
slang.
Oh,
Scottish
yes, I
Twitter,
Bad.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I
So
cannot
I
imagine
know-
if you were learning English and you came across a Scottish tweet.
You're not learning English at that stage.
Yeah, you're
You
simply
know-
not.
Do you know the Wikipedia?
What was that?
No.
Scots Wikipedia, which is
Fun.
Wikipedia rewritten, supposedly in Scots. But it was in fact basically entirely written by an American teenager who started a joke and just kept it going. And it's basically like phonetically spelled English, but with a bad Scottish accent. So like a bunch of linguists and Scottish kind of curators and stuff have said that one person has done more Scots language than any other person in history because it became really popular.
That's
Scots
so
Wikipedia.
funny. Like
But
in
it's yeah.
a messed up kind of way, but it's funny.
And
I
it
love
wasn't
her.
like it wasn't malicious. He just
No.
did it thoughtlessly, and it turned out to have a
Yeah.
really, really bad impact on Scots.
Oops.
Right.
I think they're now going through it and like
Fixing
correcting
it.
it because they've realised what's happened and gone like, you can't do this anymore. We're gonna actually come in and try and make this a real thing.
That's
This is the
good.
thing people speak.
That's good.
Is that our Irving? Is it Irving Well guy who wrote Train Spotting and things like that? I think they're written in Scots English.
Yeah.
Some of his stuff is pretty aggressively. In
Like I
Scots,
feel like
yeah.
it. Like I would describe that as like being able to read the accent.
Yes.
Well, that's one of the things about like reading Robert Burns and stuff is that like fundamentally the only way that you can read it with any rhythm is you have to pretend to have a Scottish accent because
Yeah.
That's why it don't work.
that's the language, and you'll just if you try music accent or any other accent, it just falls apart.
It would be like reading a Japanese haiku in a British accent. It's not going to work. The rhythm's going to be wrong. The syllables are going to be wrong. Haikus don't have rhymes, so I suppose that's not an issue. But yeah.
Interesting.
But also, don't do a Japanese accent unless
Yeah.
you're speaking
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Japanese.
Scottish accent you can just about get away with.
Yeah, there's been enough back and forth, I suppose, but it's been bad.
complicated. They've invaded Newcastle enough.
Yeah, give us back and we'll talk.
And also, despite
they
the power imbalance now, it was originally the Union was created with a Scottish king becoming
Yeah.
the King of England. So
So in many ways, were we taken over by Scotland? I mean, no, but I'm going to use that argument in order to give me moral cover.
it's the same way that getting
Absolutely.
William of Orange and Anne over didn't make us Dutch.
Yeah, well, didn't it though? Didn't it though? Where's our canal? I suppose
Makes-
Lincolnshire
make-
is
make
in
you
that
think.
entirely drained land by the Dutch. Is that it? Called New South Holland. Okay, fair enough. Right, now we know. Now we know.
I don't know how long it was since I brought up a word, but let's do that again.
Years.
The place where you leave your car when you go to the store or just go somewhere.
Canal.
Car a car park,
Parking space.
Parking lot.
the side of the road.
Yeah, we don't call them
Parking space.
Yeah. Or parking spot. I suppose would be more American. We might say that.
But then, like, if you're gonna have a problem with car park, but you have sidewalks.
Yeah, the walking
Yeah.
place at the side.
I mean, I don't have a
Car
problem
park
with
just
car park. We just don't
sounds
say it.
You take your car there for like an adventure.
Push
like,
it.
oh, we're to the car park. We're gonna go on the slide.
I mean, but every time you leave your house, you do take your car on a delightful adventure.
Yeah, a delightful adventure.
My
to
car's name is
Asda.
Janet. Because the GPS voice reminds me of Janet from The Good Place.
Nice.
That's so cute.
And also my car has a bumper sticker on it that says, "Honk if you would rather be watching the 1999 cinematic masterpiece The Mummy starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz."
Is it got quite dense
most-
text?
Yeah, it does. And I drive around with the
But
back
also
of that on my
in
little
most-
Nissan Sentra.
It would be.
I would
Be
honk.
good.
I would.
One of Omid Jalili's early roles as well.
He was in The Mummy
as-
Returns, I think.
No, he was in the first one. He gets a scarab beetle under his skin and runs
That's
into a
it.
wall so hard he dies. Is that
That's
Returns?
in The Mummy Returns, I think.
No, that's in the first one.
Wait,
It's the first one. Yeah.
no, but isn't he part of the group that's kidnapped their kid? And that's in The Mummy Returns. I'll just look it up.
He might be in the second one as well. No, I don't think so. But yeah, that in case of Omid Jalili's sort of pretending to be Egyptian, he is not.
Yeah.
But it's so complicated because he's certainly not white either. So who are we to say? So it becomes this sort of like, this is wrong in some specific way. I couldn't tell you how.
Yeah, you're right. It is. He's in The Mummy, not the.
I love The Mummy so
Mummy
much.
Returns.
That movie is just so much fun. And it's just like Brendan Fraser at his just peak 90s glory. Incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It is pomp.
And also just little baby Rachel Weisz. It's weird seeing her that young. Love that movie. Anyway. Going off on tangents about things that I like. What is the alternative to stairs in a tall building?
A lift.
Yeah, a lift.
Elevator.
A lift. We would call them elevators, wouldn't you? I'm trying to think if I would ever say elevator. No.
It doesn't sound weird to hear you,
You
say
can't make.
it.
It means you also can't make the Schindler's Lift joke.
Yeah, because
What?
there's a giant.
The what?
So
There
okay,
is-
so there is a giant German company that make well, they make escalators as well, but like
Yeah.
they make lifts. So you can walk into a lift, see the big brand name Schindler, and you go, "Oh, I'm in Schindler's lift." And there's nothing deep in that. It's just funny because it's
It
you know,
just
one
sounds
letter
like
away.
it.
Yeah.
It's fun when think other things. But you know what?
Agreed.
You double have to be at the right point because you have to be in England and referring to the movie because the book is called Schindler's Ark.
And that's when you get on a big boat by
Yeah,
the Schindler company.
Schindler
and then you're
Company.
like, oh, on Schindler's Ark.
I'm learning so much.
Or indeed art supplies. It's Schindler's Art. Not as
Hey.
good, but you know, close.
Okay.
But if it takes his car out on an adventure, Schindler's Park.
It's Park. Or if it's just like a small small piece of cloth that covers you, maybe it's Schindler's Shift.
Ooh.
Shift.
But if you get a larger and plasticky thing to cover you up, it's Schindler's Tarp.
I see. Don't touch that. That's a very expensive musical instrument. It's Schindler's Harp.
Ooh.
This could go on for hours. We'll stop.
Yeah.
Again, very obvious who here does improv.
Yep.
Frankly, I wish I had that
Improv.
skill. I think it would make me seem a lot more clever.
You've just got to keep on talking beyond the point that everybody wishes you'd stop for long enough, and then it sort of arrives,
And they come back round.
comes back round.
I think I'm pretty close to that already.
Yeah.
So maybe I just need to keep pushing the envelope.
Just push past that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your guys' word for the lotion one uses to avoid sunburns?
Suntan lotion.
Sun cream. We call
I
it.
fucking hate that.
Sun cream.
I hate everything
Mm.
about that so much. It is called sunscreen or sunblock.
Can I offer you some creamed sun? Oh, from the sun cow, we get the sun milk and we turn it into delicious cream.
Trexel,
just-
stop it.
I hate because like the thing that my brain jumped to is like a lot of times guys will try to like flirt with girls by being like, "Oh, do you need me to put some sunscreen on your back?" And like, can you imagine if a guy came up to you and was like, "Do you want me to put my sun cream on your back?"
That's disgusting.
Ooh,
Let me
yeah,
cream you.
I mean, yeah. With that
Bad.
implied spelling, it's like that far away from baby batter, which is just
Oh no.
because sun cream, but SON. You know. It's also gendered because it's like, well, I shall create only male.
I will only make it. It's King Henry VIII wishes he had sun cream. He's got daughter juice.
Yeah.
Daughter juice for days. Oh dear.
I'm so glad this is where we've ended up. And like, I'm not even being sarcastic.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Bridget, you know, a matter of time with me, okay?
Do we think?
Okay, yeah.
Do we think there's a natural crescendo to the episode?
I mean, we still got some stuff to talk about, but yeah.
I was aware we've been going for 2 hours now.
Yeah, I don't know that we can top that. Personally.
No, I
Oops.
feel like the introduction of sun cream / daughter juice into the vernacular is really where we should leave.
So what
the
do you call that
audience.
in America?
What do you call?
Because that's a British slang term, of course.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I know
You
what you'll
probably
call
don't.
it, but I'm not gonna say it.
No, it feels weird. It feels weird to ask somebody over the internet and say, "What do you call it? What do you call that?"
I mean, that is the format.
It
for
is.
this
Well,
specific context. If I'd done this to a stranger, apropos of nothing, yes, but
Yes, very much.
within the format, I think.
I mean,
We-
you know, as with most places, I feel like there are several dirty words for many things.
Oh yes.
Popular one, jizz.
have jizz. I mean, not in the. Of course, you do. You've got them over
Yeah, it's the back.
Yeah.
We got jars. We just keep it in jars. But yeah, I didn't know if that was a term that had made it over. Because it feels like
Well,
a very
the way
sort of
with that-
grim British term.
I don't know, jizz. It's kind of like. I mean, I was gonna say it's kind of like spunky, which is haha.
Haha. Indeed.
But I don't know. That jizz feels like an American
Short-
thing, right?
short
Like,
for
we're gonna
jism.
make it short and snappy. We're gonna market it. Jizz. Yeah, we'll call it.
The kids love it. Sorry. I just used that because there is a thing where you say the kids will love it as an American advertising person, and then I heard it. I can only apologise.
Full disclosure, when I was doing the American accent, the phrase went through my head, and then I
You've got a better brain.
You said nope.
By kids, I mean consenting adults.
Yes.
Just to make that clear, my American advertising from the 20s guy is referring to 21 pluses in this case.
Important distinction.
Distinction.
But yeah, that is, I would say, probably the most, like, popular dirty word for it.
I
like
would
vulgar
say that
slang.
cum might be more popular.
What?
Cum.
Yeah.
It's just every word for it makes my spine crawl.
Awful. I mean, there's to be honest, I think the worst one I've ever heard, and it's not that obscene. I mean, it is, but not in like a. It's horrible but offensive way, I guess.
Okay.
Is in Green Wing, which is a British sitcom.
Yes.
Give it a go.
From Channel 4.
Cracking show.
Very good. Some bits have aged badly.
Very poorly.
But most of it's pretty solid. And it's not like as bad as some things which have aged poorly. But do you know Mark Heap? You aware of Mark Heap, British comedy actor?
Nope.
I'm trying to think if he's
I'm
been in
not,
anything
though.
American.
Wait, has he not been in any of the Cornetto trilogy?
Oh yeah, he is in. He's. Oh, you know what? I don't know if he is.
Actually.
Did you guys ever get Spaced? The Simon Pegg
No.
like
Edgar
early
Wright
series
No.
before Shaun of the Dead.
Ah, fair enough. Well, anyway, he's a really, really, really good British comedic actor.
Love to hear it.
He
But
was
he
in About
plays-
a Boy.
Oh,
Did you ever see that?
Have not.
About a Boy? No. Okay. He was in Stardust. Did you ever watch Stardust?
Love the book.
oh yes, the film, because the princes are all
He's one of the
basically just
princes.
it's a rogues gallery of
Yeah.
British
Adam
comedians. I mean,
Buxton's there.
yeah, fucking Adam Buxton's there for some reason.
I think he knew the director.
But anyway, he plays a really weird, horrible, awkward doctor who
Love it.
gifts a locket to his on again, off again girlfriend, played by Pippa Haywood, and he says it's been filled full of his man's milk. That is
Oh,
just
I hate everything about that.
yeah. But do you see what I mean
Oh.
by, like, it's not obscene? Well, it's really obscene, but it's not obscene.
it's also not.
It's just bad.
yeah,
It's just bad.
very
It's
bad.
frankly
It's
what
just
it
a
is.
bad time for everyone.
Most
Yeah,
bits
I'm
on their
gonna-
own are fine, but
Gonna
together
steer the
they're-
conversation away from that real quick.
hold
Yeah,
on,
yeah, yeah.
that-
Why?
no,
What's up?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, also just because Tim, you did point out that this has been going for a hot minute, and I know you two have lives.
I've got a jacket potato waiting for me.
Ooh.
I've got a bed.
Nearly 9 and I haven't had my tea.
I will do my absolute best to kind of keep it on track for the rest of these.
Good
when
luck
you are
with
standing,
Tim.
yeah, I mean, with all of us, we'll see.
Yeah.
But,
will my hunger or my efficiency win out? I'm guessing not. Yeah.
When you are standing in a row of people waiting for something.
In a queue.
Wait. Yeah, you don't.
Queuing.
Oh, because you'd say a line, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You're in
so you're
line.
in line.
We
We're
get in
queuing.
line. Or if you're from New York City, they say online,
I fucking
which I hate
that.
because there's no line on the ground.
Maddie
Yeah.
But they
says
say,
that
oh yeah, get online.
she's a fucking Long Island bitch. She's like, oh yeah, you say online. I'm like, no, you don't.
You get in the line.
That's
'cause
when
you
you're on
make
the
it in line.
internet.
Yeah.
And also, I wonder if it's queue with us because it refers to like snooker or pool because it's like a long straight. You're in the queue.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Although it's
It's
Q
spelled
U
wrong.
E U E.
Why
So,
don't
like,
they just spell that word Q?
Wait.
Yeah.
Unless you know,
Like,
it's
Q.
probably not,
It gets
because
the same thing across.
yeah, because a pool Q is CUE. So I think it's probably French, would be my guess. It will be like
Probably.
a French corruption.
I believe it. Okay. So.
Yeah. Tail. It's Latin for tail.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
It's heraldic
fun.
term for the tail of an animal. Queue.
So this one is kind of a 3-in-1. What are the words for? Grades 1 through 8, grades 9 through 12, and higher education.
There's a fourth one in the middle.
Oh, fuck if I know, dude.
We have a fourth one too.
Well,
So
it's
we have-
also
Yeah, I guess.
our divisions are different as well.
Yeah, but the broad strokes.
Because I would say, like...
How old are you in grade 1?
6?
7.
depending on when your
like
birthday
6,
is.
7.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so,
So
it'd be
that would be
primary school.
Elementary school.
yeah, because
Elementary.
infants would be below that.
Infants
but-
is lower than that.
but
Infant
after
school
nursery.
is
So.
yeah. Nursery.
Oh, we call that
infants,
preschool or pre-K.
Yeah.
and we call that infant school. Yeah, primary.
Yep.
Secondary, just to be controversial.
Middle school.
Then, either you can go to a college for your A levels, or you can go into sixth form, which is in the grammar school system, which is
Or you can go
often
to a
the same
sixth form
school.
college.
Or you can go to a sixth form college, which is different from just going to college in some ways. I think it's
Well, because I think like colleges
we
are
just call
mainly.
it high school. I'm scared.
Oh, and also when we say college, we don't mean what you mean by college.
Yeah.
No,
'cause we
we
go
Are
to
mean-
all of
university.
these forms of public education? Or is there one public
Mixed.
and one private?
we've got public schools.
Well, that's also
for us
interestingly
are private
yes, public schools are private,
because
Yeah,
they're
it's
owned
the
by the
opposite.
public rather than owned by the government.
Oh, okay.
and we have public schools. Well, public education and state education are our two.
Yeah,
and
state
public is the
schools.
posh one, and state is the normal one.
Fun.
And within state schools, we've got academies and grammar schools and all this bollocks.
And schools that call themselves grammar schools that aren't actually grammar schools, like our school,
not a grammar
which
school.
wasn't a grammar school but used to be a grammar school, and
Watford Boys Grammar School. Good,
Yeah.
good school.
I'm sure there is a shit ton of that kind of like call it this, but it's not really that, like within the American like private school system, because there's always that kind of like.
well, I think the thing about the grammar school is that it's a specific thing because I think it has to be fully. You have to take a test to get in,
Interesting.
which is now illegal, I think. So
Yeah.
they kind of it used to be a grammar school, but you do an entrance exam, but they also have to hit certain criteria. So like they have to let a certain number of people in who are within like a catchment area of that school. They let people in via like music, almost like not quite scholarships because you don't actually pay to go to that school. But they'll be like, oh well, if you get grade 3 of an instrument, we'll
Yeah.
give you.
It's
favours.
why every fucking kid in Britain learns to play the violin or the piano really badly so that they can get into a slightly nicer school and then immediately drop it and never come back to it.
Fun.
The number of small violins that have been sold in this country for the purposes of getting into a slightly is astronomical.
I believe it.
Huh.
And then university after that.
College.
Do you have because you they are universities.
Yeah, like we
Over
went
there.
to. We were part of the
There are both.
State University of New York system, so we went to SUNY Geneseo, which is like State University of New York at Geneseo.
But
'Cause
then,
we-
like, also, there's a college in my town that's just Jamestown Community College.
Yeah, there's Hudson Valley Community College near me.
Well, that's the weird thing as well, because with Oxbridge, you have colleges within the university, because like Queen's
Yeah.
College and
But that's very specifically like our
Which is-
two
but
oldest
also,
ones.
University College London.
Yes, which is different.
Fun.
Well, no, but it's just a
which
university.
which is much like
and King's College London.
which is much like you got the UC system, which is a public university system like UC Santa Cruz and UC Berkeley and those. So yeah, everybody set it up in 6 different times and they've all smashed into each other.
Love it. What is the place where you go to pick up your prescription?
The pharmacist.
The pharmacy or the pharmacist.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
that's what I would
the
say
first
too.
one, Pharmacy.
Although in the old West, weren't they called druggists?
Probably. I've heard other. Maybe this is like an older term that isn't really used anymore. I've heard Brits say chemist.
Yeah,
Yes.
Boots. Yeah, it's Boots.
Yeah,
Boots is
Boots
our
the
big
chemist.
pharmacy chain, and it used to be called Boots the chemist. I think older people might say, "I go to the
Yeah,
chemist."
I think that's an archaic term.
But yeah,
Whether or not
druggist
that's
is
because
definitely a thing. Like
yeah.
I've seen that in like on like signs in like old movies and stuff.
Yeah, but your drugstore now, you go to, I don't know.
If
what is it?
you ever were going to say I'm going to the druggist now, people would automatically assume you were going to pick up heroin.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like in a really fanciful manner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
Pick up
I wish
heroin.
to see
in
the
a-
druggist for my crack cocaine. La 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 la.
Okay. What is
2 pieces of crack cocaine, my good sir.
2 marijuanas, please?
2 marijuana.
What is the initial level of a building?
Ah,
The ground
yes,
floor.
it's the ground floor, 'cause
because
it's on the ground.
You just say
And the first floor, because it's the first floor after the ground floor.
Yes.
It just makes
It
sense.
seems
people.
kind of dumb to me. I don't know.
It's obvious.
It's the first floor.
Yeah.
You go in
Then where's the ground? Oh,
Yeah.
what, you just
On
floating
the
in space?
first floor.
Yeah.
in the ground.
No,
No.
that's
ground
the
floor is the one
0th
that's
floor.
in the ground.
I'm sorry, that's the what?
No, that's our basement. The 0th floor, right? The ground floor is floor 0 because we count like coders, so you always count from 0, not from
Yeah.
1.
But you don't want to call it O floor or 0 floor. So you
Bridget,
call it
you
ground
look
floor.
horrified in a way that tells me that no, we do not call it the 0.
Being a tool.
Nope. Yeah, no.
You look
call it-
absolutely mortified.
No,
I think
we
your
just
feet
we
also
just we
froze
just say first floor and move on with our lives.
Wow. You're missing out on all these G's you can poke on an elevator, or indeed a lift, as we would say.
We have that's what our building that we lived in at school. The first floor was the first floor, and then if you hit G, it took you to the bottom that was in the ground.
Oh
But
yeah,
that's
the place
below
where
the
you stick your
ground.
bikes.
Below the ground. That's B
In the
for
ground.
basement.
Yeah, or lower ground. It's a lower ground floor because it's
Yeah.
under the ground. It's an underground floor. You can't
I've
call you can't call an underground place the ground place.
You are in the ground, though, to be fair.
You are
Like,
in the ground.
you put a
You're
body in the
under-
ground.
Under
Okay.
the ground, you'd be in the center of the earth.
Sorry, why are we not calling the second story of buildings the fucking sky floor then?
Hey, I'm up for it.
Sky
Yeah, that does
floor?
sound kind of fun.
Sky floor?
And
That's
I've
what
been
the
in a
top
build.
one's called.
Ah,
I've been in a building where it was the ground, the lower ground, and the lower ground. 'Cause
Bad.
they were just we can't get into the whole sort of -1, -2. So we're just
Too
gonna
much.
keep adding lowers.
wouldn't you just call that lower ground too? Because you do that with basements. Because you don't have like the basement, the super basement, the deep basement. It's basement, basement 2, basement 3, basement 4, right? You just keep going.
Well,
You have.
Oh no,
sometimes.
like this is a
Like
theoretical.
industrial buildings.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah,
industrial
also in
Mines.
the UK, and also in the UK, many fewer basements than exist in the US. Like a basement is not a thing that
Yeah.
you have in the UK, really.
You sometimes have a room that's a little bit lower.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's
That's
from
basically
the
intentionally
whole,
cold.
I like the whole kind of like root cellar thing.
Yeah, because we have like coal rooms. You might have a coal room, which
Yeah.
is not too dissimilar, but like it wouldn't be like the whole way down. It might be like half a room down, so like sunken.
Interesting.
What did we call that? What did we call that, Ben? In our old house, we had that room at the back with the washing machine in it. Utility room, actually. We called it utility
Yeah,
room.
yeah,
I
that's-
was thinking.
that's-
I
that's
thought
a
maybe
thing
we
people
called it
say.
something else.
That's a separate deal, yeah.
That's a thing. people
No,
say.
although
But it was-
ironically, I have a basement. Although I have like an open-backed basement. It's not.
Yeah,
a
you
hole in
flood
the
your
ground as
basement quite regularly, don't you?
well. No. I've gone
I'm
to great
making-
pains to make sure it does.
Oh my
making a
god, our
loser
basement
joke.
floods.
Ah,
it's, like, not finished. It's,
piss
like-
myself.
Like scary cement building, like room with a bunch of spiders in it,
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
exposed
spider house.
foundation. Very fun.
Yeah, we don't have that. Yeah, the kind of like breeze block basement kind of thing. That doesn't. No Blair Witches in the UK.
No.
Oh, hella
You
Blair
can't
Witch here.
basement over here.
Yeah, nowhere for them to live.
So
You know what? Blair Witch populations have died out because of lack of habitat in
Yeah,
Europe.
yeah,
It's
we have
very
destroyed
sad.
the habitat. Faced by seagulls.
As we see the Blair Witch staring at a wall for hours until it can turn around and eat you, a sight no longer seen.
what do you call the thing that you use to protect the counter when you're dicing some veggies?
A gun.
Got to keep
didn't
them
know
on
we
the
were in
counter.
I didn't know we were in America.
Yeah.
It's a chopping board.
Cutting board.
Chopping board. For chopping.
Board for chopping.
What do you call it?
Cutting board.
Cutting board. 'Cause it's a
Oh, well, I
board.
mean that's
Oh, you know what? That's fair enough.
basically
Cutting.
the same thing. Yeah.
I suppose we can sometimes call them a breadboard as well. But that
Oh,
is
I've never heard
specifically
that
for
one.
bread.
Well, that's specifically for cutting your bread if you're super
Yeah.
fancy.
Or, indeed, if you're in electronics for mocking up circuits, that's also
Yep.
called a breadboard.
I
know
like the
nothing about
implication that you've got your chopping board and your cutting board, and that just implies that the British are much more like angry. They're like,
Emily, would you like to read
As
the
the
one that you
French-
came up with and put on the document?
Oh. Yeah, let me pull it up. What is the fluffy pink treat that you get when you go to the carnival?
candy floss,
Candy floss.
Cotton candy.
As
not
opposed
cotton
to
candy.
cotton candy.
Law?
Yeah, I think because it's a double lie because obviously in cotton candy is not candied it is just a big cloud of sugar. But the sheer audacity for us to call candy floss the teeth meltingest treat you ever did
Yeah.
see. Floss, which is used for helping the teeth, it staggers me. It's candy good for your teeth. It's just sugar.
It simply isn't.
It's
good,
anti-floss, if anything.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know why it's called floss. Oh, it's probably called floss made of thin strings of sugar. Because
Yeah.
floss
Probably.
is a thin string, right?
The French word for candy floss fucking translates to like daddy's beard or something.
Yep.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Get some daddy's beard.
Not valid.
Go
Yeah,
to
I
the
mean,
fair and get some
but they do-
daddy's beard.
They also call potatoes earth apples, so you know I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on in that
A
country.
pomme de terre. Like ever since Napoleon turned up, they've gone fucking weird, man. I don't know.
Here's bringing back some visual aids. The fuck is this?
It's a Z. It's a good
Yeah.
old-fashioned Z.
Why?
Why? It
Why
sounds
not?
like somebody meant to type Z, but there's a typo. It sounds like a typo.
Zebra. Zebra.
I mean, it's just Z. It's just a you know. Well, it's like saying W or W or like,
Oh, interesting. In French, W is double
Yeah.
W.
which makes more
Yeah, but
sense.
that makes sense because it looks like a
It does
double
look like a
V.
V.
But that it does in uppercase, not in lowercase. In lowercase, it looks like two U's, which is why we call it W. Two U's next to each other.
I will
So
allow it.
Depending on your handwriting, I suppose.
I know
Fair.
your handwriting. True.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like Z and Z, because the trouble is because it's the building blocks of language, there is no correct way to say
Yeah.
them because you can't also because like if you're spelling Z, like Z is spelt Z-E-E or Z-E-E if you're
Yeah.
American, right? The sound does not represent the thing itself. It needs other markers in order to justify
Right.
itself.
B, the letter B doesn't sound like B.
Yeah,
This is
like
true.
A. How would you spell A?
I have no idea.
A-Y-E.
Yeah.
No, but
Maybe.
that's
To
I.
me,
That's I. That's true. Oh,
Z
also,
just sounds like a kid who like wants to change their name to sound trendy.
I'm
Yeah.
like-
Zed.
You can call me Z.
Yeah,
No
like-
one,
Call me
no one
Zed.
understands my poems. I'm Zed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if
also-
David Bowie tries to say Cedric, oh Cedric.
Oh, love David Bowie.
Cedric.
Love him.
You've come from outer space and you're my Zed boy. Floss means silk, by the way.
Fun.
Floss is,
okay.
it's French. It's always French. Flosh.
So we've got candied
French.
silk.
Candied silk. Thing is, candied silk,
I'm
I'm
well
on
up
board
for that.
with.
That's good.
The finest candied silk.
So
I
we
just-
have
I call-
we have two
I
more
call it-
things.
Yeah.
We did actually manage to like compress a couple, which I'm impressed with. One, just why so many extra vowels is my question.
Ah, fun.
It's
You know-
for some local colour spelt Colour.
To confuse the dumb Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some local colour deep in the borough.
Kalua.
Yeah.
I
That's what
hate
that
it.
looks like to me.
Yeah, see, I've got American clients, so I'm forced to write in American English, and it pains me every time I have to spell armour, A-R-M-O-R.
The thing is, American English is what I sometimes default to because it makes more like onomatopoeic sense. It is
It's good for
spelt often how
dyslexics.
it sounds.
Less
Good for
secret
dyslexic.
letters.
Yeah.
Fewer secret letters. And I assume it is because we are dealing more with French, where it's the vowels are fucking everywhere. French and,
That
and
does
Norse.
make sense.
So
I
I
do
think
believe
I
it.
think there is a certain amount because you will have you know if all is America, things sort of homogenize and simplify. Whereas in the UK, where France is just always there, constantly being French
Yeah,
all the time,
as they do.
you sort of get you keep getting a sort of a recursive, you know, that you can never, you know, France isn't going to suddenly decide, oh, those U's aren't for us,
Yeah.
and
You can
everyone's
never
gonna
escape
change
the
it.
French.
You just can't
And
escape the
actually,
fucking French.
That kind of makes sense because Louisiana, the French bit of America, Louisiana is
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, that does make
named for
sense.
King Louis, or King Louis as you call him.
Okay, so we are at the last.
St. Louis.
This is the last thing I have slated for today, and I have more visual aids, which I'm really excited about because I like had to print things and use construction paper. What's this?
It's a jammy dodger.
It's a jammy dodger.
Okay, but what is
Little
that?
Jammy dodger.
Jammy Dodger. I mean, just one of those.
It's one of them. It's a shortbread biscuit with jam in the middle, and by jam,
traditionally,
I mean a sort of a strange gummed.
So this is a
strawberry.
This is a biscuit, correct?
Oh, I see. We've gone too specific.
Right, yes.
It is a biscuit, but it's a very fancy biscuit.
Hang on. Is it legally a biscuit? Because does shortbread go hard or soft when it goes stale?
That's true. It might for
It's a cake.
but I think for people,
Are there
reasons,
different
it's a
tax
biscuit.
rules?
Yeah.
Yes.
So a biscuit is a
Biscuits
luxury item.
Oh yeah. That.
Cake is a staple food, so they get taxed at different rates. So Jaffa cakes, which are like a bread with chocolate top, I think they successfully proved they were a cake to get out of tax, or indeed to not have more tax applied. Because if you bake a Jaffa cake and slice it, it's a bread cake. It goes hard when you leave it, whereas a biscuit goes soft.
I've just looked up as well, and like this makes sense because a jammy dodger, that specific thing that you showed us, I'd call that a biscuit. If somebody said, "Do you want some biscuits?" and showed me a jammy dodger, I'd be like, "Yes."
I have had jammy dodgers. They are quite good.
They're
And
great.
shortbread is a biscuit. I've just checked.
Okay.
Oh, you just checked it. Okay.
What about this?
Oh, we have to wait for the video.
Yeah, this is an exciting bit of waiting for your video. To
Oh,
update so we
whoopsies.
can see.
Yeah.
The jammy
Yeah,
dodgers.
still a jammy dodger.
Back.
Oh, hang on. Oh, you're
wait,
back.
no,
You're back.
Bridget, you're
Yeah.
here.
Was that a cookie? It was a
Yeah.
classic cookie.
That's a classic American style cookie.
Okay, here's the thing. So I would call both of these.
Sorry, have you cut out the picture and glued it onto a nicer card?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent
she went
stuff.
hardcore.
Excellent stuff.
And I made sure
feel
they
like
were.
on
I'm
Blue
not showing you
Cheetah.
this one yet, but I made sure they were red, white, and blue.
Excellent.
America.
Well, also,
And
France.
Britain.
and or
France.
technically
It
like
all works.
Russia and
And
Cuba
the
and
Netherlands.
the Netherlands.
And Cuba.
And
Yeah.
A lot of flags.
Not Belgium.
A lot of
Turns
flags.
out people probably like the blue of the sky and the red of the blood.
Yeah,
And
and
the
then like
white of the. I don't want to go into it because it might be racist.
yeah.
I don't
think so.
know if
I
the
don't
white
think
in flags
so.
is because we're all white here.
I don't think
I
so.
feel like in a lot of flags, it's probably like purity or something.
Peace.
Purity.
Yeah. I don't
Which
know.
again, you're only
I mean,
you're only a
that's got
couple of
its own-
steps away.
I don't know who's
Yeah.
to tell.
So
Right,
I
yes, cookie.
would call both of these cookies. Because here's my thing.
But they're
That's
entirely unalike.
But
Well,
if you're
yeah.
if you're calling this a biscuit, what the fuck
Yeah.
is this?
The thing is, so
What is
we
that?
call-
That is a scone.
No,
Yeah,
that
that's
is
good.
like this is for the American South.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a biscuit. That is a biscuit. Like,
it's basically a scone. Or the way that it's used is like it could be a dumpling. I think 'cause you have
Dumpling,
biscuits
yeah.
and gravy. But no,
We-
but I think
we call it a
I genuinely think a southern biscuit is pretty much the same recipe as what we would call a scone.
Okay,
even the same bloody
probably, but
shape.
like maybe
I
not
think
as sweet.
So. Yeah, although a scone.
not quite-
would be-
scones
a
aren't very
scone is
sweet.
unsweetened. You put
Which is why you
sweeteners
have
on
them
a
with cream
scone.
and jam.
But what I
Okay.
would say is the biscuit problem is because biscuit is an specific Italian confectionery, because biscuit means cooked twice. They cook it and then they cook it again, and that's a biscuit, and that's a very specific thing. But it's
Interesting.
become our generic term. So we'd have probably, again, this will be when you left/we left to go, we might have all called those like cakes and things like cake rounds and shortbread and things like that. We've at some point picked up biscuit, but you haven't because it's an Italian thing.
I believe it.
I-
Fucking love biscuits.
Is
and
my
gravy.
is my
Good
dead
shit.
reckoning.
Oh, that's interesting.
What is?
Have you done some Google zings?
We're just American scones are closer to our rock cakes.
Oh, like a Welsh rock cake, like a Welsh
Yeah.
cake thing. Yeah.
So New Orleans bayonets and that kind of stuff.
New Orleans
Interesting.
what?
Bayonets.
Beignets.
Beignet,
Oh,
Ben.
sorry.
Even I knew it was a
I
beignet.
don't know. I'm saying it.
Oh, mercy me,
basically.
I'm so sorry, but I could have one more of your delicious beignet.
True, I didn't French it up enough. That's the problem.
I really didn't even know what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
A beignet. You know what?
Bayonet.
That
Beautiful
is
British bayonet.
that is my favourite accent. Oh, mercy me, I do declare a lovely beignet.
Oh,
for you.
like the deep south.
Oh, I wear a white suit all the fucking time. And a
Kind
hat.
of thing you can really just see the sweat drip down my arm.
Oh, not your big city lawyer. In fact, I never finished law school. In fact, I'll go, because I shouldn't really be here, sir.
Oh,
No.
mercy me. If you continue, I'm
mer-
going to get the vapors.
I am such a sweaty, sweaty man in a big rocking chair. Lots of fun.
I'm
So,
wearing
like,
a bolo tie.
The like to kill a mockingbird, like Deep South type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's, you know, the plantation owner's accent.
Yeah.
Really. That's all
Yeah,
I can
and you
think
know
about.
what?
And the white
I can-
suit, and it's like, woof.
And I can comfortably mock it, because fuck
Fuck
that
those
guy.
guys.
I mean, you know,
Fuck
that's
those
all
guys.
right.
Fuck
Yeah,
those
yeah,
guys
yeah.
big time.
What are you going to say back?
So we have actually made it through all of the things.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Remarkable. And frankly, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Thanks.
No, time-wise, this was delightful.
I see. It's been good fun. It's been good fun. I have been thinking about baked. You got me thinking about baked beans as well. I haven't got any baked beans, and I want to have baked beans and cheese on my back.
Oh, if
baked
we still
potato.
live next to each other, I could give you some baked beans. But
Don't you escaped? You escaped,
Yeah.
you bastard.
I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna go.
How
make,
many
like,
things
mac
of
and
baked
cheese for
beans
dinner.
do you just have?
You know, you just have them. It's like you have tins of baked beans and you have tins of tomato soup. You just have them. They are just there in the cupboard.
Hmm.
For lunch or dinner. And
Nice.
thus endeth the episode.
And thus endeth the episode. Thank you guys so much for
Yeah.
like appearing on the podcast. This is insane. I cannot believe we managed to do this.
it's nice to come around and have a chat. And to
Yeah.
be quite honest, yes, we've been in a couple of big things, but like, we're just a couple of idiots.
Here's the thing, you are, but I was shaking before this because I was so nervous. But that's what
Ridiculous to
happens
hear that
when
you'd be
like
nervous to meet us.
but like to be fair, like anyone who has done anything that I even slightly like respect, like, you know,
Yeah.
content creation wise, I'm just like
Yeah,
And
no,
to be fair,
totally.
Ben is very intimidating. He'll turn dour. He'll do it.
Oh,
I'll keep it.
actually,
I'll keep it light and friendly. Ben will get to a point and be like,
Oh,
"I'm done."
I'll just
Do
be
the
like a right
Elias
bastard,
voice.
Yeah. true.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm finished with this interaction.
Although Ben, you'll have to come back sometime and like make your case for why Maddie and I and Tim as well we pinned David down wrong on our chart of the stellar Firma
you
stabbing
disagreed.
alignments.
Oh yeah. What? Where was he?
I think we settled would
Oh, no,
never
where
stab
were they?
anyone.
Wait. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang
Well,
on,
it-
I've
'cause
forgotten David's pronouns. Help, Tim. I've stopped
they-
doing the podcast. And
he,
it
they.
is he, they. Yeah. Okay.
It is
fine.
he,
Just wanna
they.
make sure I didn't get it wrong.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
where did you put him?
I think we put on wouldn't stab anybody, but there was very much a continuum argument of it depends where you catch him in the series.
Yeah.
I believe was the
Very much
was
so.
the main.
I mean,
thrust.
yeah. Towards the end, there was a lot of you do one more thing to me, and I'll fucking end
Yeah,
you,
the-
mate.
They were very angry towards the end of the season. They were
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very angry.
And you know what? We might have a bit too early because for like the last 4 episodes, it was like you can't really get more threatening or angry, so you just have to maintain this peak crossness until we get to the end.
Angy.
Angy, David's so angry.
No talk.
Inky.
That
No talk. I'm Angie.
don't
No
talk. I'm
talk when I'm
angry. Head empty, only angry.
A
I'd like to beat you
dignified
up with a
end
clap
to a
of-
dignified episode.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, and of course you're
Thank you so
always
much for coming.
welcome back if you don't have anything better to do.
The sort of like shoved open door welcome. Pff, you can fucking use it if you want. I don't care.
So yeah, that words. We will be back again next week. Hopefully streaming a couple more weekends if we figure out things to stream. And yeah, I think that's it for now. Very nice to see you all. Bye.
Bye.
This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly and Emily Whitney, featuring special guests Tim Meredith and Ben Meredith, and produced by Maddie Robbins. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98, at EWIT789, at BenRL Meredith, at StellarTim, and at MR5MAR. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature. Thanks for listening!